Hello and welcome to this New Game Plus episode of the How Long to Beat podcast. Consider this a side quest of the regular episodes as we dive deeper into a more specific subject and deviate from the regular structure. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Matt, and I have just taken a shower with officially branded Pokemon shower gel, Mewtwo flavor, and I'm with my co-hosts Diallo.
Hello.
And Roy.
Hello, who has not taken a shower with Pokemon branded shampoo, but has just eaten some spaghetti.
I wonder what's more gamer-like, not taking a shower at all, or taking a shower with a game-branded shower gel.
The most gamer option is not to take a shower and only do it when you get the shampoo.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. That's the deal, yeah. So, today we are gonna do a sort of deep dive and a recap of the recent game showcases that have happened this summer, summer of 2025 to date this thing. Mainly, we're gonna look at the different showcases under the Summer Games Fest umbrella, but we might also mention some smaller independent showcases, and probably gonna talk a bit about our general experiences with these type of game showcases all around the year. And to top it all off, we will be mentioning our most anticipated games that we have seen in recent showcases at the end of this episode.
One might call it a showcase.
It's pretty good. Showcase squared. First, how are we on video game showcases in general? Do we watch these regularly? Are we a big fan, or is this a rare occasion for us?
I will say, for me, it's pretty much a rare occasion. So as a kid, until it got canceled, I watched E3. One of my childhood dreams was to one day be able to attend E3 in person, and sadly, that never came to fruition.
Oh, no.
But ever since E3 got, I guess, a bit more decentralized and eventually canceled altogether, I haven't really had that sort of, one outlet that I'm looking at in the summer for gaming news. Like, I know that there are all the different summer showcases that happen nowadays, but I don't really actively follow those so much. So that's that. The other thing I will add is that I am really all in it for the trailers. Like, I don't really care for like the antics and the fanfare of the showcases themselves. I typically wait until the end. I didn't watch any of the showcases that we saw today, for example, live. I just wait for them to finish, and then I go back and fast forward the trailers. I skip the ones I'm not interested in, and I watch the ones that I actually do find interesting at like regular speed. So yeah, I'm just in it. I'm just in it for the news.
Fair. For me, I do like to watch showcases. I mean, I've mentioned in a previous episode, I do watch the Game Awards every year, kind of thing. But you said that last time too.
Oh, I did that. Okay.
Not when the Game Awards.
Yeah.
But I like to watch showcases a lot, probably because I do kind of enjoy talking about not just major releases, but somewhat state of the industry stuff with friends. So that is sometimes a bonus. I'm kind of similar to Diallo, though, in that I definitely watched more when E3 was around, because I would very much make sure to find time for E3 every year. Usually I'd be watching it with some friends because, it was not just for the trailers, it was like a fun social event. Just hang out with people. Did that company mess up? Or are they releasing stuff we like this year? Whatever,
It's the nerds Super Bowl.
the super nerds. But I try to make sure every year I try to watch like the State of Play, Xbox Showcase, and Nintendo Showcase, or Nintendo Direct, I should say. That's around this time, and like Summer Games Fest itself, obviously, like the main one. After that, it kind of usually comes down to if a specific showcase or direct has like, personal appeal, basically. Like if I see something I kind of like from someone else, I decide to tune in, or I'm just bored, kind of thing. But I feel like I'm not gonna get into this too much because it started. I feel like because it's become so decentralized and it's a bit less of like there's a main show and there's so many side shows, it's easy to just kind of get overwhelmed and just not watch a bunch of them for me.
That's fair, yeah.
I can relate to that.
Especially some of them that are like, this is single small company. Like, I think the Hitman devs had their own showcase this year.
Yeah. Well, I actually find it very interesting that you both said during the E3 times you were more into this, or like watched it more. I think it's like the exact opposite for me. I don't yearn for the days of E3. It's fine for me that it died. I think I get personally much more out of the Summer Games Fest, partially probably because it is so split apart into these different sections. I think back then E3 I watched it occasionally as like a let's see what's going on, but there was rarely anything actually in there that I personally was gonna go out and get. I think E3 was much more focused on the big budget or AAA releases, and also much more focused on the console releases. So not my world. And with the Summer
Right.
Games Fest, I get so much more access, I guess, onto PC games and also all those indie games, because I think Summer Games Fest with all the different showcases under its umbrella is probably 90% indie games at this point. And I personally loved that, just seeing so many original, like weird games and whatnot in this bundle. I love Summer Games Fest. I'm glad it's here instead of E3, to be honest. If we only had one thing of the two, I'm happy with this.
What I wish is that we had an E3 for the major console people and Summer Games Fest for more of the non-major ones, because
I mean, sure, yeah.
I think part of it, I don't think this is the same as for Diallo from what he said, but for me, I did enjoy kind of the live part and a bit of like, I suppose the pageantry of it in a way. It was kind of fun. See, like even like when like Nintendo was doing a stupid Wii E3 or Microsoft was doing a stupid Kinect E3 or whatever. You could have fun kind of just joshing it with your friends and stuff and talking about afterwards. You know, that was kind of what it had. But I one thing I will really quickly say, it does make sense that you would prefer it more because you definitely are someone very indie, very PC.
Yeah.
You know, E3 is not going to have a lot of things for you for sure.
To be honest, the whole stage presence stuff. Yeah, sure, there's stuff in Summer Games Fest, and I get when that is not very appealing to somebody. I don't care much about that either, but maybe this is just my memory messing up, but I feel like there was much more stage fluff during E3, where they had way more attempts at hype through lengthy monologues and whatever than for a brief like trailer or whatever. I feel like in Summer Games Fest, you usually get more actual video game content than empty filler stuff. So I don't know. I still feel
It's more
Summer
trailer
Games Fest
dense.
works better for me.
I think it's more trailer dense, but you also don't get moments where someone goes Peggle 2 and the entire crowd just dies.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but still, Summer Games Fest have their own pieces of cringe, so it's not completely on.
I mean, they had a really good one this year.
A really good piece of cringe. Yeah, you could say that, I guess, but we'll
And
get to that.
I guess it's not cringe, but it was very funny to me.
I think if we're talking about the same thing, then I think it was cringe. But
It's something that perhaps is a bit silky.
oh yeah, now I get it. I was thinking about something else. We'll get to that too, I think. Yeah, I guess that's our general views on these things.
So before we jump into the individual showcases, I do have a bit of a question. So I actually did not know Summer Games Fest existed until this year. Like I mentioned, I'm not really following the Summer Game showcase scene. So I see that we have all these different sub showcases. I watched one thing that was called the Summer Game Showcase. So is that sort of like a big compilation of all the trailers that were shown in these individual showcases, or is there a separate showcase called Summer Game Showcase and then there's all the other ones that are kind of like side showcases? Like, how does the structure work for these?
From what I know, Summer Games Showcase consists of the main Summer Games Fest and then Day of the Devs.
Yes, exactly. And then everything else is its own thing.
Yeah. Most of these are their own separate showcase that would not be included in that.
Okay, because I saw there was a little bit of overlap. Like Death Stranding 2, for example, I think was shown in the Summer Game Showcase, but I guess it also has its own separate
Yeah,
showcase
they gave
too.
it their own thing, oddly.
Yeah.
I guess not oddly, because like it's a major release, but you know what I mean. But there were a few of
Well,
those. Outer Worlds 2 got its own showcase. DK Bonanza got its own direct. Death Stranding 2 got its own showcase. Was there
yeah.
any others?
Yeah, the ball pit. But again, we get to there when we get to there. As we are going through Summer Games Fest, we will be stringing along the official like scheduling that they had on their website. That's how we are categorizing these. Which would make the first one the so-called State of Unreal, which was focusing obviously on the Unreal Engine and the Epic Store stuff itself, or like the Epic company stuff itself. And like, did anybody watch this?
I'd like to take the lead on this by just saying something. In the E3 comparison that we were making to Summer Games Fest, at E3 there would always be a company like EA or someone that would start E3 and be one of the early ones, and people who only real freaks like me would watch it because who wants to watch the EA Sports Showcase, and they would
Yeah.
not show anything. That to me is like the State of Unreal Showcase. This
That
feels like
checks out, yeah.
the showcase that is before all the main showcases that like true freaks watch, or maybe I guess like who's specifically fans of Unreal Engine?
I had a brief glimpse into this, and I felt like half of this was just genuinely like more for game developers and whatever about the state of the
Yeah.
engine to work with. Is that the right impression since you watched it?
I didn't.
It didn't seem like it was more for oh, you didn't. It didn't seem like it was that much for consumers, more for like actual professionals for the most part.
That sounds like probably true.
Yeah, I did not give a rat's ass about this one, so let's just skip ahead to the next one, which I did not give a shit about either. After it was, I guess, a bit of a bigger one, the State of Play showcase by Sony, though with me,
Yes.
again, not being a console guy, I was still asleep, or at work or whatever. I was still not tuning into this. Did anybody here did?
I didn't watch
did,
this one either, but on the subject of consoles, so I know that Sony
Yeah.
is doing a lot more of their games on PC these days. I'm assuming that some of the games that were shown here aren't
Oh.
going to be PS5 exclusives, but I didn't watch it, so I can't say that for certain.
There
But
are multiple of them that are PC as well as PlayStation, so it is definitely worth still looking at if you are a PC gamer, because multiple of the biggest games on there are PC double releases, actually.
Yeah, I don't know when
So,
I've bought a Sony game the last time. Yeah, I don't think I missed much for myself.
I mean, for what it's worth, they showed like some indie games as well. It is worth noting they didn't just show like the major first party Sony
Okay.
games. This is one I did watch, I will say.
There we go.
It was pretty good. I'm not gonna say it was like the best state of play ever, although state of play isn't usually as hype as like their main show that they do. The like forget what they call the main things. Doesn't matter. If you know,
No
you know.
idea.
There weren't a ton of major reveals, but there were a few. Like I feel like one thing that Matt might enjoy was that they showed like the new Lumens game. I think that's how you pronounce it.
What is that?
It's a puzzle.
Is it-
It's the puzzle series.
Oh, yeah, I think I've
You-
heard about this.
And the guy who did Tetris Effect is doing this one, and it has like the same. It has like a very similar psychedelic style. It kind of had like a funky trailer too, like in a good way.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it was interesting. I really can't say too much because I've never played a Lumens game, so I don't know like the gameplay by itself off the top of my head. But it looked like a really big like turn your brain off and vibe kind of game. But since it's a puzzle game, it's probably more like you get into a flow state kind of
Yeah.
thing. And that was what they started the showcase with, which was a bit of a surprise, but it made for a good lead-in. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this one. Not like the game, but just like for me. I really enjoy Ryukishi 07's work, ignoring the fact that I probably pronounced his name like a total quad just now. But he's the guy who did Higurashi, Yumaniko, like a bunch of the major visual novels. And he's been working on a new Silent Hill game. And, we've like known that he is, but we haven't really seen anything about it. That game got a nice big trailer at the state of play, and I am pretty interested. I think it's clear this doesn't quite have the same budget as maybe some of the Silent Hill 2 remake, for example, but it still looks good. It's a Silent Hill game, so the presentation is going to be, it's going to be mystery based. We're not going to get all the answers, so I'm intrigued, but there is still a part of me that wonders how his style of storytelling is going to mesh with the Silent Hill gameplay formula, I should say. We see some combat and stuff, but we see some sick monster designs in a good way. I'll say that. I really enjoyed this one. I was debating if it was going to be on my top 5, but since I'm not sure, I wanted to bring it up because, like hell, I'm not going to bring this game up. Let's see. They revealed a sequel to Bloodstained, like the Metroidvania part of it, not the 2D classicvania part of it. And it didn't do enough to majorly hype me, but I am inherently kind of interested because Bloodstained was pretty solid. And I don't really have further notes about that aside from that. Another trailer for Baby Steps, which is still a game I'm not really sure of, but I know a lot of people are interested in.
Yeah, it seems very much like a YouTuber game.
Yeah, YouTuber
to me.
game feels right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's correct. Grasshopper revealed a new game, which is Romeo is a Dead Man. And that trailer kind of fell flat for me, which I don't think it maybe did for a lot of other people. And because I enjoy Grasshopper games I've played a lot. I was really excited to try to play No More Heroes for a long time. Couldn't find a copy. Started playing on Switch, stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's very stylish and presentation based, but there really didn't feel like a huge story hook to me. It kind of felt like it sold me on the Grasshopper style weirdness rather than why I should be interested in this specific game, I suppose. Which is a bit unfortunate because I like Grasshopper games. I like paying attention to them, but I don't know about this one. I feel like this one's definitely gonna be for some people, but it didn't necessarily hit as well for me. Sea of Remnants had an interesting trailer, but I have no idea what I would think about the game itself. So I'm not necessarily going to talk about it a ton right now. Digimon Story Time Stranger got a trailer that kind of explained more. Inherently interested, big Digimon fan, loves Cyber Sleuth. Game looks like it's taking a similar gameplay formula and evolving it some, but not a lot. Capcom showed that Pragmata is still real after 4 years, 5 years.
No idea.
But that game looks good. This wasn't one of my top 5 reveals, and I don't really play a lot of third-person shooters, even if I've been trying to get into it. I'm not trying to get into it more. There's games I'm interested in that I want to try out, and I'm going to get to them, I should say. This is an interesting one because you're not just doing the shooting game, but also you have to play a puzzle game on the side to make enemies more vulnerable and stuff, which seems like a wild concept. Play Tetris with your third-person shooter. But
now you got me interested.
Exactly. I know how to bring it in.
Yeah.
Game looks good.
Oh, it's that thing. I've seen controversies about Pragmata.
I hadn't heard of this one until I saw it at the Capcom Spotlight, but my initial impression was that it looks like Megan meets Death Stranding. I don't know how accurate that. I mean, just visually, from a gameplay perspective, I don't think they have any overlap. But yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, you are not the first person I saw make the Megan comparison, so I think you can consider yourself very valid. I like the duo energy kind of that they had in the trailer. I checked out some of the Capcom Showcase, saw some of the gameplay on it, but not as much as I wanted. I think the main thing I want to talk about with the State of Play, I'm going to have to save for later for the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the other thing I'll just say as a very quick finisher is that, honestly, the new Everybody's Golf looks fairly fun. I do like a good golf game.
I don't think I've played any of those. I can't imagine what it is.
You mean you don't golf, but everybody golfs.
Yeah, apparently. I usually mini golf. What I'm curious about more, I'm looking right now at the State of Play timestamps on YouTube to see what games are in there. I'm seeing Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater is in there. That's getting a PC release, apparently. That is dope. I want to play that. So that's probably going to be my into that.
Yeah, go for it.
Next month, yo. Okay.
And MGS3 is a pretty good starting point, especially because it's like a prequel. You need no knowledge of previous games to play it.
Perfect, yeah.
So I would say if you're interested, unless the remake turns out to be shitty, which most people don't seem to think it will, seems like a good starting spot.
Hell yeah. I wishlisted it all right now.
See, the showcase is already working.
Yeah. Definitely. I wishlisted so much fucking bullshit. Definitely worked. All right, let's move on to the next one, which now we're getting into the big titular Summer Games Fest main showcase, which, to be quite honest, I had minimal reactions towards at the time. I think this one I did watch live on the second monitor where I was doing work or whatever. I think there's only 2 games that caught my eye in that, which is, for one, Lego Voyagers is announced, which is a sort of sequel to Lego Creators Journey, I think was the name. And I think I'm in some circles famously known as a Lego hater, because to me it's just overpriced, branded, licensed bullshit. But Lego Builders Journey, that's what the title was, I think, was actually a completely original, no brand license, aside from Lego, no brand license stuff thing, a genuinely pretty as heck puzzle game with completely original Lego stuff. And that thing ruled. So I'm happy to see they are making another one and not another Lego Star Wars, Lego Jurassic Park or whatever game. I'm so sick of those. And another game that I noticed in this, something called Mouse PI for Hire, which is
Mouse PI.
I feel like there's a trend right now to make Steamboat Willie inspired games
Rubber Hose.
Yeah, exactly. That sort of animation style. I feel like I saw a whole handful of those kinds of games during these showcases. I couldn't tell you all the names, but
yeah,
definitely people are loving to do that.
Yeah, I will admit I am fully a sucker for just rubber hose art style in video games. Shout out to, in addition to this, Cuphead, Bendy and the Ink Machine, Timeless River level of Kingdom Hearts 2. For some reason, the combination of those 2 elements just really speaks to my soul. And so Mouse PI definitely caught my eye as well. And yeah, there were some other rubber hose style-ish games that were mentioned in the showcases. One other that I'll call out is Into the Unwell, which seems to be this kind of cartoony platformer with a very surreal, trippy bent to it. Apparently there's this little demonic goat you're dealing with as you're traversing the levels. I guess this kind of ties into some of my impressions in general for this showcase. And also, full disclosure, this is the only showcase under the Summer Game Fest umbrella that I actually saw was the official Summer Game Fest main show. But a lot of games in this one, like you said, there was one must buy in this showcase for me, but besides that, there were a couple of games that caught my eye, mostly because of the art style. So in addition to the rubber hose art style that we had, one that I want to also call out is, or I guess a couple that I want to call out. There's MIO Memories in Orbit, which had this gorgeous kind of cell shady art style. There was Out of Words, which features this gorgeous claymation art style. And then one that I really, really liked was one called Felt That Boxing, which that was a super that was a wild trailer, but it appears to be this kind of comedic, heartfelt, no pun intended, story about a puppet who wants to become a champion boxer, and you're guiding them through their journey of trying to become a better boxer and everything. And the art style kind of has these hyper realistic, they look like Muppets, it's very,
they look like Muppets.
Yeah, it looks almost like people have they look so realistic. It looks like an actual Muppet, like on the screen, like a video of like real puppets.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about how they actually generated those graphics.
Oh,
But yeah, that one.
before you
Yes.
continue, the developers, if I can find it for you, actually have a whole channel, and they talk about like how they did it and how like all that stuff is in-engine, in-gameplay stuff, and they show how they did it. I'll see if I can find it.
Nice. But yeah, typically I'm not super into like sports games, so I don't know if it would necessarily be my cup of tea in terms of playstyle, but it definitely was nice to look at, and it seems fun and funny, so I'll be keeping an eye on it. Whether or not I buy it is still TBD.
This was definitely one of the more eye-grabbing ones for sure. Yeah, I felt the same.
You felt the same.
Yeah.
As you might surmise, that game may or may not be on my list later. I do want to quickly say, when it comes to Mouse PI, I've been really interested in that game. It has been shown off for quite some time too. It was like one of the ones that's had like I think it first got revealed as like the dude like posting stuff on Twitter kind of thing, like 2 years ago, kind of something like that. So it was cool to see it get a major showcase. I am very interested in that game. The animation style is immaculate. It looks so good. I am still a bit curious how well it'll play, because I feel like most of the gameplay shown has been pretty basic gunplay kind of stuff. But even if it's just a pretty basic shooter with that art style, that is still pretty cool.
I agree. Yeah, I'm down for this one.
Anyway, it was still Matt talking when we started.
Well, that's all my thoughts on this main show. I don't really have much more to add to that one. Anybody else?
Oh, I do have one more game from the main show that I will talk about, which is Resident Evil 9 reveal. Is obviously huge news.
Was that a thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it was the showcase ender.
It was the grand finale, and it got a pretty long trailer too. It looks really good. I've spoken about Resident Evil on this podcast at several occasions, so I I'm interested in this one. There's a 95% chance I'll be too scared to actually play it, so that's that. It's not in my top 5 for that reason, because I'm probably too scared to actually get around to playing it. But it's obviously big news for fans of the horror genre, and I wanted to call that out.
Gather your courage. Fight the zombie.
Maybe. I'm still trying to get my way through RE7, and it's not working well for me.
One day. I believe in you.
I have quite a few thoughts on this showcase, to the point like I made a whole list to talk about it before. So I do want to spend a bit more time here. First off, before I get to some individual games, 2 moments I want to talk about. I feel like Silksong has been taking a long time to come out. When Jeff Keighley and Deadpool are silk posting live on stage, pretending they have a trailer they threw out.
Okay, that's something I miss, having only seen the trailers, not the actual showcase. I and have been very anxiously awaiting Silksong news for the past 25 years. So I would have appreciated that bit.
Yeah.
No,
like it's for the Deadpool VR game, and like they pretend Deadpool sent a letter before the trailer. Like he's like, I threw out that Silksong trailer you were gonna show, so you can show off my awesome new game.
Yeah. Deadpool made fun of Silksong for the release time, yeah.
I mean,
game was so angry.
It was so fucking funny, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I liked it too.
It was also impressive to watch Splitgate 2 kill itself live on stage. Not gonna necessarily go into that more, but
oh yeah, there was some technical hiccups, weren't there? Yeah, I forgot about that.
No. It was he wore a Make FPS Games Great Again hat, and then the game turned out to look like, and then he played Imagine Dragons over like a generic shooting trailer.
Yeah, that hat, I forgot about that, man. That hat was so fucking cringe. And it did get people were rightfully loud about that.
Yeah, it was pretty
and it
cringe.
got a shitty apology as well.
Yeah, the not apology, that's clearly not an apology kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
that was just embarrassing.
game has already lost 80% of its player base, so
Awesome.
and
Hell
like
yeah.
and like the speech before showing the trailer was pretty cringe when combined with that. One thing I saw that trend, and I swear this is a trend in like 3 showcases, and I don't know why, but I have to bring it up, is that there's all these like extraction shooters and looter shooters and
Yeah.
stuff, right? And I swear, every single one has like at least one character, usually antagonist, who wears the exact same helmet with like a flat like front that's non-see-through so you can't see it, made out of glass with like kind of an egg oblong shape, and it looks the exact same on like every single one. And it's like a prominent part of every trailer. And it's weird.
Like a sort of Judge Dredd helmet.
Yeah, kind of Judge Dredd, like, but if like fully encased, like the bot, like you couldn't
Huh.
see his chin, like full, like that.
Well, I guess that's just a fashion trend right now in video games. That's the gamer drip currently. I don't know.
Apparently, it is the gamer drip.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are excited for Arc Raiders. I thought the trailer looked really bland. Maybe it might just be because I think that there was a bit of an oversaturation of shooting games between this and the other showcase.
I was about to say you mentioned this game, but I'm like, when I see a shooter in these showcases, my eyes just glaze over. I nothing of that retains in my brain. Like
I am the same way.
yeah.
I mean, Nas
I
PI.
actually just like fast forward through them.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't fast forward. And I mean, some of them are interesting, but I feel like there were at least probably 5 either extraction or looter shooters between this and like the state of play. I think no, not the state of play. There was another showcase. I have to remember. And I think that if you played footage of them and didn't tell people what game it was, you could tell them it was any of the games and nobody would notice.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
The new Scott Pilgrim game, that was a surprise. Still has the awesome art
Yeah.
style. Acts of Blood looked pretty good. I'm not sure if I want to talk about it as much right now, but that's been like a weighted game. Like this is probably where most of my top 5 is in this one over the other ones. Yeah, because like I didn't get to quite as many of the other ones, so that's part of why I'm talking so much about this one. This is like the main one I watched and had thoughts on.
Huh.
It was like the new Atomic Heart game and the new Atomic Heart spinoff. I'm really not sure that game was like strong enough to support what looks like to be a whole gaming universe as it was. And I don't think the cube looked very interesting, despite maybe an interesting premise. But good luck to them. Code Vein 2 was cool. I thought it would be cool to have a sequel. There was also a lot of like Souls-like games. It's like Souls-like and shooters. Those were like 2 of the big ones. I got a real kick out of Sonic Racing Cross Worlds with Hatsune Miku, especially because they showed
Yeah.
Hatsune Miku right after like Jet the Hawk and Storm. So I just kept thinking of the Sonic Riders fan dub, which I they had to know
Oh, I'm not
because
familiar.
they got fucking meme lords on the freaking marketing team. I can't even explain it. It's worth watching sometime though. Blighted looks really good. As like an interesting like action RPG. It's the Guacamelee guys. Infinitesimals. That looks like a game that Matt will be interested in, kind of thing.
Yup. That's I did not mention it this time for a reason.
True. But truly the grounded of another one.
Yeah. Actually, okay, hold on. Let's rewind a couple seconds. Infinitesimals. Okay, I am gonna talk about this as well.
Go for it.
Yeah, I was thinking about keeping this one for the end for our top anticipated games, but actually there is a reason why this one is not on the list because somebody else pretty much replaced it, which I am not gonna reveal. But yeah, Infinitesimals. When that came up in the showcase, I was genuinely super hyped because it's another bug-sized. It seems like another bug-sized survival game, other grounded or small lands, which I've both talked about in other episodes of the podcast before. Which is one of my favorites, I guess, now subgenre that exists because more and more people are stepping into the footsteps of Grounded. So when I saw Infinitesimals being announced, I was like, hell yeah, finally more of this goddamn bullshit. And this one seems to be focusing a little bit more on like a science fiction vibe,
Yeah,
I feel,
definitely.
which I'm completely down for. So yeah, this one I'm definitely got my eye on. But again, the only reason why this one is not gonna end up in my top 5 anticipated things is because another game replaced it, which
Nice.
we're gonna be
Yeah.
talking about later.
I just googled
I
this
mean-
one. I don't really have any memory of this trailer, but I guess I'm also, as the resident bug hater here, definitely not the target audience.
Well, since you're playing like a sci-fi guy shooting bugs, it might actually be the better experience.
Yeah,
You get to destroy
true,
them.
I guess. You get to destroy them, Jesus Christ.
This game looked interesting to me, but the trailer was mostly just like, trailer kind of thing.
Yeah.
It didn't show a
Yeah.
lot of gameplay. But that's one I'm putting a pin on to pay attention to for sure. Also, honestly, kind of going back to Matt talking about stuff, I also thought Lego Voyagers looked good. So I'm just gonna kind of
Yeah.
add in, I thought that was neat. I've never played Lego Builder's Journey. I like the fact you're just like a little single headpiece. Like that's like
Yeah.
a little fun gimmick.
It's super creative while being super simple. It's really, really well made. I love it.
I think I'll save anything else I want to say, and if I don't get to one or two of the games I was going to talk about, I will just bring them up as like an honorable mention on my top 5.
Sure, yeah.
And,
I think
and it'll
that's
also
fair.
make sure I don't just drag this entire segment forever too.
Then let's move on to the Day of the Devs segment, which previously has usually been my highlight in the Summer Games Fest thing, because this is like the prime indie game, the indie dev showcase. And what I really love about this is that you get to hear, to listen to the indie devs in front of the camera present their game to you. So it's not just like a blank trailer demo reel or whatever. You actually get to hear their thought process in creating this and get a bit of like humanity in there, or whatever you want to call it. I love that stuff. I have to say, though, that this year I think I've had not that many games in that showcase that I was like, hell yeah, I definitely gonna watch list that or wish list that. I feel like previous years had more in my interests, but they did have cool stuff like Reloaded, which is a heist game where you steal back stolen cultural artifacts from museums, which is just a super cool concept in itself.
That's a good concept.
Sorry, could you give the name one more time?
Reloaded.
Reloaded. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's a gameplay wise that I would be too interested in, but the subject is super cool.
Yeah.
It's maybe very fitting that game is coming out revealed, I should say, the same year as like the big Indiana Jones game came out.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I guess so. Another thing that I found really interesting is that I think there's right now a trend of these anomaly catching games as well in indie games, where you
definitely.
essentially walk through mostly like recurring settings and have to see the little details that might be wrong because they might be some sort of supernatural danger or whatever, that sort of thing. Seems like there's a lot of games out there right now. What is the game called? Exit 8?
Exit 8, yeah.
There you go. That's probably like the source of this. And in this Day of the Devs showcase, there was like an offshoot of that subgenre. Please watch the artwork, it was called. And it's an anomaly finding game based on historical art pieces, like actual art pieces, where you watch the Mona Lisa and try to find where's the weird anomaly in this famous painting or whatever. And that's like a really cool original idea in that sense. I'm gonna look forward to that one.
Yeah, that does seem neat.
There's also an Escape Academy sequel, which is just a good co-op escape room game.
I love an escape room.
Let's go. Yeah, that's definitely gonna be a purchase at some point to play with my friend. What I found strange though, Marvel Cosmic Invasion was in here, which is like a pretty polished beat 'em up with all sorts of Marvel characters, and that didn't seem very indie to me. I guess maybe Day of the Devs isn't necessarily an indie showcase, but I feel like it's always portrayed as that.
Technically, Day of the Devs is just meant to be for like anyone at Summer Games Fest who puts their devs up to talk kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
And I could be wrong, but as far as I know, the people are making Marvel Cosmic Invasion also aren't like Mazer devs.
Yeah,
Basically,
I
I think
guess
they work for like Dot.
I would assume that's the qualifier that they aren't actually that big of a team or whatever. But it's curious to see such a huge brand with so much money behind it be worked on by an indie team. I guess. I mean, sure it can happen. It just seemed curious to me at the time.
I mean, it's the same guys who did you remember Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge?
Yeah, that
It's
was
the
a pretty
same
big
team
one,
that
I
did
feel.
that. It's the same team that did
Makes
that.
sense.
And the studio was founded by people who left Ubisoft but made the first Scott Pilgrim game.
Okay.
So like they're kind of like beat 'em up specialists basically. That's part of the reason like it looks so good and stuff. I'm very interested in it basically for that reason. Cosmic Invasion I actually thought looked pretty good because it was in the main show as well. Like,
Oh yeah.
like the visuals are very nice, you know. I like that they don't make it look MCU-y. It very much is taking more from like.
What does that mean?
So like, I'm not like a comics expert here, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe has a very specific look and style to a lot of like its specific portrayals of certain characters.
I mean, yeah, okay, sure.
The portrayal of them is like, and the portrayal of them and what this game is taking from what I've both heard and kind of understand in my limited knowledge, takes a lot more from like 90s Marvel comics in terms of like what character designs are being used and the story and stuff.
Yeah, I get what you mean now. Yeah, I don't have any more thoughts on Day of the Devs, so if you want to go or
I didn't watch it, but I do just want to say one thing. I'm glad that Off was here, even though it is a bit weird. That's kind of just like a re-release expanded game version. But Off is such a like old school foundational indie game kind of thing that I'm glad it was in a showcase like this where it might reach a wider audience and just kind of shows off, you know, what it did for the indie game industry, I guess. You get what I mean, even if I'm not articulating it the best.
I mean, what I can say about Off is that I feel Off is such a niche cult.
Oh, I thought you were saying I feel off, like full stop.
No,
I thought it was a joke.
No pun intended.
I don't feel so good. Stop.
But Off seems to me like such a niche, genuinely niche cult game that I was surprised to see it here at all. I did not see this coming at all.
Yeah.
I don't even know who's even like doing this project since isn't the actual original creator not with us anymore, I think. Am I
is that true?
misremembering?
I believe the original creator is still there.
Weird. Where did I get this then?
Fangamer is like doing the remake, which might be one reason that it's getting like kind of a push. Another thing, and another reason I think it could be getting a push is Toby Fox, I believe, is involved in the soundtrack.
Of course, that makes so much sense. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there it is. Toby Fox is one of the composers. I just checked. So, like, between Fangamer, apparently, from what I understand, funding the publishing and, like, Toby Fox doing the composing, that's probably why it's getting a chance at a showcase like this.
I just want to, like, correct myself. Yeah, the original creator is not dead. I don't know where I got this from. Yeah.
I just want to repeat that this is one of my most anticipated games of 2025. I mentioned that on a previous episode, but I am definitely looking forward to this one. And I may or may not have already started playing the free downloadable version, but we'll talk about that later.
Excellent. Good choice.
I never finished the original. I'm really sorry about that.
Well, there's no time like the present, as they say.
I guess so. Maybe I'll give it a second try when it's released.
It's not that long a game, I think, either, so it wouldn't be a major time investment to kind of just get through it.
Yeah. We're probably not going to be dwelling on the next one for long. I don't even know why it's regarded on the official schedule as its own showcase. Next up was the Ball Pit or Ball Cross Pit showcase by Devolver Digital.
Ball X Pit.
Ball X Pit, which was like a 10-minute thing for this one specific game published by Devolver Digital. Which is, I guess, I would describe it as a bloated brick breaker game, because it's using the breakout thing to add, I don't know, base building and character abilities and light RPG stuff and elemental fusion features to create new balls and whatnot.
When you describe it like that, it actually sounds rad.
It's the sort of thing where if it would go like 3 steps back, I would probably be down for it. But since it went so far, it kind of like lost me. But
don't forget, it's also a roguelike.
Oh my god, of course it's also roguelike. The most important thing about this is, though, Devolver Digital is usually one of the standouts during these showcases, because they usually go all out on the socio-critical parody stuff and making fun of current trends and having like really elaborate scripted things and playing with your expectations and breaking the fourth wall, all that sort of things. Usually it's a highlight in these things, but this is just a 10-minute comedic thing. It has parody elements as it makes fun of a stereotypical soul indie dev with tragic backstory trope a little bit to advertise this real game.
I can't believe Ball X Pit's creator died.
Well, no, he was sick as a child. It was really sad, but that gave him the strength to do this and whatnot. But
it let him break out into gaming.
Sure. It's wild to see Digital Devolver take back so many steps and do something so small for once. And it's also weird to me that they do this for this not very remarkable brick breaker game and not like anything more interesting. I don't know. Like a lot of effort for advertising on a mediocre game, it seems to me at least. Just a really strange showcase. Did you watch this, either of you? I don't even.
I didn't watch the showcase, but during your talk, I watched the trailer, which means I feel like I've watched the showcase or half of it. I feel like this only has its own showcase because either A, Devolver Digital spent enough money to purchase their own time slot. Although I think that's kind of stupid because way more people would watch this if it was part of Summer Games Fest. Or 2, having like the whole 10-minute lead up and all that would have been too much for the Summer Game Fest main show. They either didn't want it there, it would have cost too much, and they kind of got shoved into their own showcase, quote unquote, because of it. So,
I do actually feel it would be a conscious decision by them to have their own thing, because I do feel for a lot of people that's a special draw, the crazy Devolver Digital showcase.
I agree, it's disappointing they didn't really have a full showcase and just showed one game, really. Because Devolver Digital not only usually shows more, but I feel like they've developed a reputation, and from what I've seen / played, a deserving reputation for generally publishing pretty quality stuff. You generally have a good idea if you get a Devolver Digital published indie game. It's gonna work. It's gonna be polished. You know, might not be your favorite thing ever, because obviously taste varies, but it's gonna be well done.
And often unique.
I think one thing you said is that a lot of times their showcases make fun of trends, but even aside from that, Ball X Pit as a game feels like a collection of trends. Roguelike, base building, all the stuff you kind of said. I mean, the trailer looks interesting to an extent. I don't see how it's going to come together in a game necessarily. Like, I don't know if I see the vision, as it were.
Yeah, I think it's too much.
But who knows? Maybe it's the next Balatro.
I kind of doubt it, but who knows?
So do I, but you never know. If I may lead into the next one.
Yeah, let's not dwell in the ball pit. Please take us into the next one.
Another one to me that just felt weird to be a showcase at all was I believe it's IOI Showcase is how we would put it. That's just the Hitman devs. I didn't watch the showcase, but this felt so weird to me to be its own unique showcase. I get why it's its own showcase in the sense that it's clearly just for people who want extra information on the new 007 game and like Hitman stuff. You know, it's clearly like a specialist showcase. But like,
No, God.
surely there's not enough people for that to be worth it.
Yeah, out of the three of us, 0 were interested enough, so that's not a good quota.
Yeah.
I feel like it's safe to skip.
I'm like someone who has a pin in the 007 game. Like, I'm not disinterested in it, but I'm not interested
I
enough to watch the showcase where that's the only thing that's gonna happen, you know?
Yeah. Let's move on quickly from that bull crap
Yeah.
into another indie one. This one is the Wholesome Direct, which has been a mainstay for for some years now, I think.
Yeah.
I have a rant a little bit about a very mini rant, and it's only
I might
tangentially
join
related.
you in the rant.
Okay, so this whole cozy game trend is I don't like it because I feel personally it's weird to call yourself cozy. Like I feel like if someone else is like, oh, this is like I feel cozy playing this game or whatever, or like, oh, I like to snuggle up with this game and whatever. That's one thing, but just go out and say like, oh, hey, look, I'm so cozy. It's cozy over here. Ooh, cozy. It's weird to me. I don't know. Maybe I'll get canceled, but
Totally. Yeah.
I'm so tempted for this title to be "Look at me, I'm so cozy over here."
I'm so wholesome. I'm so cozy.
Um,
You're definitely not the only one with this opinion. I feel like there's a general opinion that the wholesome game market is completely overrun at this point. There was at one point definitely a space to showcase these, as I don't think it's like that bad of a thing to have some escapism in more in softer media or whatever. But yeah, I think generally at this point there's too much of this. That's one of the reasons why I didn't even watch this. Even just watching the other indie showcase, you get enough wholesome or cozy game stuff still in there. I don't feel like you need this special one to put them all together.
yeah, and I feel like Nintendo Directs these days tend to be like 70% farming sims, and I imagine the
Oh,
Wholesome
yeah.
Direct probably has a lot of that.
Yeah.
yeah, the farming sims near the end of the Switch one's life were real. So I didn't watch the showcase. I do want to comment a little bit on the general discussion about the wholesome game stuff because
Let's tear it down.
I've looked at I haven't played any, but I've seen games that like are anti-cozy games specifically because the creators like either don't like some parts of how cozy games are kind of presented to people or just like the saturation. I do feel like to me I feel like the Wholesome Showcase has a reason to exist. This is definitely a market that's looking for a specific style of game and it's catering
Yeah.
to it, right?
And to be clear, it's nothing wrong with making these games.
There isn't.
Yeah.
But I do feel like when you have a showcase of just those, to me it's no different from when I said like Summer Games Fest had too many shooting games in it that all look the same. I'm not saying these games all look the same, quite in the same
Yeah.
way, but like there's a lot of games. They're clearly inspired by Stardew Valley. There's a lot of game and because I didn't see the showcase, but I did like look at one or two trailers. There's a very similar energy on all of it, or not all of it, most of it. You know what I mean when I say that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like what it is, and one reason I think that might engender some of the feelings we're talking about, especially when it's in something like Summer Games Fest, where let's be real, it is showing a lot of indie games. This is also 100% a corporate affair. We all know it.
Yeah.
Like, it feels a bit sometimes not disingenuous, but you get what I mean. Like,
Oh, totally.
conflicting tonally, I guess.
I think
No.
disingenuous is a good word, actually. Yeah. Sometimes it definitely feels like that.
I suppose, like, to an extent, why I say this, I don't want to feel accusatory towards them because I don't think the devs are like lying to us or anything.
No,
But
not the
Yeah.
not the devs.
Also, to be perfectly honest, I feel like I personally do enjoy lots of the games that are branded as cozy games. Like I love me some Stardew Valley. I have hundreds of hours in that. The whole branding and sort of like cozy culture that's like emerged from it is where I draw the line.
Like even in the showcase, I'm sure if I would have watched it, there would be like a couple games I would be interested in. I'm sure. That's not the
I
problem.
mean, maybe it's worth watching.
But again, there's so many indie showcases. where I would also find wholesome things. I don't need this special one. I think that's more the point for me, at least.
I mean, I do want to say this kind of comes back to a point I was saying earlier where I feel like, and this, I'm going to say this is one thing I think that E3 structure kind of helped with to an extent. I feel like there are so many indie showcases right now, and so many showcases in general as it's fractured, that you're getting showcases that are so easy to just skip that might hurt these devs who are definitely paying money to be in these showcases, but maybe not getting the same level of exposure a more focused selection of showcases might have. You know, like I feel like I would be more likely to watch some of these showcases if they were combined, and maybe like if the Wholesome Showcase was combined with something else into something with a different name, and probably you'd have to cut some of the games admittedly, and a bit more varied, I'd be more likely to watch it, and I'd be more likely to watch other showcases because of the fact there wouldn't be as many showcases of usually at least an hour of length.
Yeah. There's other themed showcases in the Summer Games Fest that I find much more useful and valuable. Yeah.
I have a question. Can I lead into another showcase but not be direct order? Because I feel like our discussion makes me want to jump and talk about one.
But I like the chronological structure, man.
I like chronological as well.
All right. Well, I guess I just feel like there is a later direct that we will get to where the feeling of disingenuousness was
definitely
much more extreme.
So definitely put a pin into this thoughts. We will definitely
I'll just
back to
bring
that
it later. Yeah.
It's funny how this showcase that none of us watched has generated some of the most discussion so far. A lot of speculative smack talk.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, now I'm going to have to watch it afterwards and maybe even bring it up a little in the next episode because I feel like I'm going to be mean if I say all of this without watching it.
I feel no such obligation.
No, me neither. I don't see a problem with these devs are not doing the wrong thing. I still think there's a space for these kinds of games, and I'm sure I would find some games in there that I would like. I just don't care. I don't think there needs to be a whole showcase for this. Personally, I don't care, and that's it.
I want to see something. Like, how long was this showcase? This was an hour, 12 minutes. So that's like an hour of just wholesome games.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Wait, I just noticed that one is called "Let's Build a Dungeon."
Yeah,
wholesome.
I noticed that too.
like when I think of wholesome, I think of kidnapping people and locking them in dungeons.
Wholesome dungeons. Come on, I mean, I've been in a wholesome dungeon before in a video game.
That's one. Just from looking it up, from you saying the name, apparently AI art on the cover.
Oh, stop
judging
it!
From
no.
Google.
Okay, let's get out of this one fast. Let's move on.
Can I get one positive thing while we're looking at the list? Winter Burrow is a game that was in the Wholesome Direct, and that is a super cool looking little survival game where you play a little mouse in a snowy environment, and I want to play that. There's one positive thing about the Wholesome Direct.
Everdeep Aurora had like a nice visual style from what I saw. I think it's like one of those Game Boy Color inspired games I've seen starting to come alive.
Yeah, there's definitely some cool games in here, but no time for a whole thing. We will move on to what I believe might have been, for me, the strongest showcase in the whole thing.
Ooh.
Next up was the woman-led games, which is also, I think, a recurring thing in this thing. And I think if you're just talking numbers, this is the showcase where I put most games on my wish list. There was so much cool stuff in here.
Yo, sick.
One of those being called Drywall Eating Simulator. That's what the girls do these days. They eat drywall. But that was a genuine, like, there's genuinely
I wish
a
the
lot
listeners could see my face right now because my jaw just dropped.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like a Matt game to me.
Yeah, it definitely was. This was filled with a lot of like unique and very varying games. This was super cool. There's also Prison of Husk, which looks like a super cool retro style Dark Souls kind of game with really grimy visuals and whatever. The girlies are cooking, man. They are doing some good
100%.
work out there. Yeah. And I'm so excited to give this one a shout out. Sorry about this.
Right.
There was a game called Equinox Homecoming, which is an exploration-based open world horse riding game. Not usually
No?
something I
Alright.
care about, but it looked so fucking good that I might actually get on that shit. That was so cool.
I'm Googling it now.
I love the showcase. There was so much dope stuff.
That's when you know shit's good, when you're like, I would never care about this otherwise.
Yeah,
But I'm really
exactly.
interested.
That actually does
this-
look fun. I might add that one to my wish list. As a child, there was this one arcade game at Dave and Buster's, some like virtual horse racing game where you could like raise a virtual horse and like compete in all these races and stuff. And you could also
shit.
like go through various generations. So your horse, after like aging up, could like mate with another horse, and then you could have like children horses. I spent so much time and money on those games when I was a child, and this might tap into that sort of like, yeah.
There was a horse breeding arcade game.
Yes,
What?
yeah. It was a whole, and there were like all these online guides for it and stuff too. It was intense. I don't remember the name of it. If anyone knows, feel free to reach out and let me know. But
Yeah, I need to know that as well.
it was an experience.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was highly invested at one point.
That is crazy. It sounds really fun, honestly.
It was so much fun.
They need to bring that
Yeah,
sort of
everyone's
thing back to revive the arcade scene.
Yes.
Need horse breeding games again.
So real quick, I want to
Yes.
say that I didn't find time to watch this, but this is one I am going to watch like even afterwards because this is just one I just didn't get to because I was busier than I wanted this month. But one of the ones I did look at not long ago, trying to prepare, was Prison of Husk, and that
Yeah.
game does in fact look sick.
Yeah.
It to me, it definitely has like the kind of old school, Dark Souls PS1-y style. It made me think of Bloodborne PSX, which is like an itch game in that regard.
Mhm.
But it also made me think of the Kingsfield games by FromSoft and like Lunacid, which is an indie game that's inspired by them. And it just looks pretty good. This is a game I was /am considering for the back end of my top 5 kind of thing. And
Good choice.
another one I saw that I think looks really neat, although one of my concerns is maybe some aspects of the gameplay, is Wander Stars, which has like a really sick kind of cartoon / 90s anime combo style. Looks like a turn-based RPG, and as I'm sure you guys have realized through the many months we've been doing the podcast, I am a sucker for a good turn-based RPG.
Of course.
You know, it just looks really good. Now, the one thing is that I feel like the gameplay we see is largely battle scenes, and the ones that aren't battle scenes look like they are on just literally a linear Super Mario Bros. Map kind of thing. So I'm concerned the game might go on.
No, I just remember which game you're talking about. Yeah, this one looked dope. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks sick. I'm hoping that's not just literally like move, fight, move, fight, move, fight, because that could get kind of repetitive or dull. But this is another game was considering for my like back end top 5. Like there's like a clear like Sailor Moon antagonist looking dude. This game looks sick. I gotta try this demo at some point.
Really, really cool art style of this anime kind of thing. Yeah.
I feel like from what little I did see from this showcase, because we just saw like a few trailers, this game was very like varied art style. Like this had like extreme variety in what games looked like.
I would say so for sure. Yeah.
Sorry, before we get too far away, but I looked it up, and the name of the horse game in the arcade is called Derby Owners Club. It's by Sega. Apparently, there's only 23 left in the entire USA as of 5 years ago, so who knows if it even still exists to this day. But it was a fun experience. If you can find a YouTube video of it, fun stuff.
What is Derby horse?
Derby Owners Club.
Who the hell goes into an arcade, sees a machine called Derby Owners Club, and puts money in?
But the way that it's set up, you have like this whole bench of like seats, kind of like Yeah, it's there's like a visual aspect to it as well as like the game aspect because it feels like you're actually sitting at the horse races, like ready to like bet on the horses. And like after you finish the race and you've like made your horse and you've like done the races and stuff, they print out a card that you get to keep with you, and you get to bring that to like the other machines as you level up your horse and everything and progress. It was a lot, but anywho, I wanted to get the name. I wanted to have that on the record.
That's awesome.
Not to turn this into the Derby Horse Owners Club showcase, but I had to
Yeah.
look this up. Apparently, first off, this was the highest grossing arcade game of 2001 in Japan, which is insane
Oh.
to think about to me. People love Derby Owners Club.
It
Apparently,
was so
when
addictive.
I guess horse race betting is big over there.
they
yeah.
put it in Chicago, it had a 92% replay rate. And perhaps most surprising for me, this had a PC release and a phone release. And the phone release went for 7 years and only shut down in 2019.
Oh
Oh my
man.
god.
Which is
Just
insane to
probably
me.
just gambling gamified.
Apparently, the PC version added a hub town like an MMORPG.
Man, this is real gaming. What were we talking about here? The new shit coming up? This was the peak of video games.
We're gonna have a whole separate New Game Plus just for horse racing.
Yeah, for real. Shit.
So true. But
Yeah.
anyway, back to the women-led
Anyway.
showcase instead of the horse-led showcase.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much done with this one, and you two haven't seen it. You are not feminists, which is very disappointing. But I guess
Dishonor on us.
Matt confirmed Dr. Eggman.
let's move on. The next one honestly was also very strong, probably my second favorite. Next up was the Latin American Games Showcase, and we talked about we mentioned the woman-led games showcase already had a lot of different art styles and whatever. I feel like Latin American Games Showcase had even more. That there was so much visually, so much variety. It was super cool. The games of the noteworthy games of mention that I have in my notes for this one is very long, and I'm not gonna name them all. I'm assuming you two haven't seen this one, or am I mistaken?
Yeah, again, the main show was the only one that I saw under the umbrella.
I saw some of the major and side ones, but I didn't see all of them, and this is definitely one I didn't.
This one had cool shit like Dono's Tale, which seems to be a Yoshi's Island inspired, like, spiritual successor, which is super cool. It had
What's the
stuff
name?
like Dono's Tale.
Alright, I'm gonna have to immediately look that up.
Seems very much like taking inspiration from Yoshi's Island, which I am very much for.
Holy shit, this game does look like Yoshi's Island.
Even the character movement seems to be very much similar, which is dope. I love the
this looks sick.
foot flapping floaty jump in Yoshi's Island.
You can do backflips?
Yes, we have come far enough to be able to do backflips in video games. Hell yeah.
Never before seen.
There's Leap Galaxy, which seems to be another precision platformer that seems to take inspiration from Celeste, which is always a good idea. There was also a game called Trolley Solution, which was a really funny yeah, it's a really funny puzzle game based on the trolley problem meme or idea, which was really fun to see. And a game called Piss Off, which is a 3D combat platformer where you literally use your bodily fluids to fight your enemies. So you do actually like.
Sounds horrifying.
That sounds awesome.
Very Matt coded game right there.
Yeah, there's also I do want to talk about a bunch of these more. 3 more I want to mention that I found really, really interesting. Lurks Within Walls is a horror dungeon crawler with creature designs by Trevor Henderson. He is pretty famous for creating a bunch of online cryptids and whatever. He created like Siren Head and whatever. And he is just really good at designing really weird creatures as art pieces. And having a game where you fight those I'm already sold. I don't even need any more information. There's also Ayla or AILA, which is tackling a subgenre I like a lot, which is playing a video game inside of a video game. As in this one, you're playing a playtester trying a game that is haunted by a rogue AI. I always love when video games play around with the sphere of video games, and this one seems like a very interesting one, potentially. Oscuro Blossoms Glows, an incredibly pretty game where you explore caves full of bugs, friendly bugs mostly, it seems.
Unsurprising to see this here.
Yeah, I like pretty bugs. What can I say? I'm a huge sucker for that. So legit, a ton of variety in this one. To go with the woman-led games, these two showcases are the ones I would like most recommend people watch. There's so much cool stuff in there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I feel like with indie game showcases, there's very often the pitfall of having the same tropes over and over, the same trends
Yes.
being done over and over. These two, God, do they have variety, man. It's so good. You two should like click through these, maybe.
I do want to actually say I didn't watch this. Like I said, I have seen a few trailers. One or two, in fact, I've been watching while you've been talking because I was fortunately have like a list of games that were shown in various showcases and like kind of look at some that catch my eye. Going to immediately say Code Bunny looks really sick. Looks like
Which one was
it
that?
looks like a very Gunvolt inspired game with like insane movement tech, which instantly appeals to me. Jumping around, zooming through an entire level in a flash kind of stuff. Crazy boss fights, instantly appealing. Like there's like some kind of like combo system for either score or damage. Nice. You know, this immediately looks good. It's got like bullet helly boss fights maybe. And I'm a big Toho guy. I've played Mega Mari and stuff. I'm just clicking through some of these. There's definitely some big variety in the showcase in a very positive way.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next one, which is now we're at the Southeast Asian Games Showcase. Diallo hasn't seen it. Roy, have you watched this one?
Unfortunately, in general, I didn't watch like the next three showcases. So.
I'm shaking my head. In preparation for this New Game Plus, I was probably watching more of these showcases than I usually do. I'm not even sure if all of these ethnic showcases, or whatever you want to call it, how many of those were longer mainstays of Summer Games Fest, or when they were added later. I would genuinely be interested in how old some of these showcases are, because it's cool to have these representations, and this is like one of those showcase themes that I think are much more valuable and make much more sense than something like Wholesome Direct or whatever. But I do actually wonder how they developed over the years. I kind of should have maybe like looked that up beforehand, but I'm just thinking about that now.
The women-led showcase looks like at least 2024, although I don't immediately see anything from before that.
Yeah, actually, that might check out.
The Latin American one I also see kind of starting like 2024, but it could just be that I'm not seeing previous entries. But I hope they continue.
I do hope so too. They are doing good jobs, not only at representing these people, at giving them the platform, but also genuinely providing cool games, at least from what I can judge.
I like the fact that it feels like they're not themed, like you said, is all I was going to say. Like, they're just like, all right, women-led games doesn't have to be like you know, because like I said, there's clearly corporate people behind this. They're not like forcing you to, they need to be girly games or whatever. It's just wide variety games made by women. Do whatever you want. I like that.
Exactly, yeah. The Southeast Asian games had some highlights for me, like a game called M.I. Nima, which seems to be a psychological horror game with word-based puzzles. So it seems like you collect words in your environment, then use them and mix them and match them to make different things happen, to say it broadly, which I'm a big sucker for, like word-based puzzle games. I don't feel like I see many of them, but maybe I'm looking in the wrong places. This one definitely looks cool. And it has a cockroach in it, according to the trailer. So
Oh
that's
no!
bonus
See,
points
you
for
had me until cockroach.
Well, but you don't. It's not. The trailer shows it being killed, unfortunately. So I don't know. Maybe that's
I'm
good
back
for
in.
you, bad for me. God damn it!
We're so over. We're so back.
No justice for roaches.
Wait, what was the name again?
M.I. Nima.
M.I. Nima.
Yes.
I appreciate the instant that he knew a cockroach would die. He's like, what's the name of it?
That's a weird sell, but okay. What I found interesting as well in this showcase, there's a game coming out called Identifile. File as in the document, Identifile. It's a roguelike game where you click through folders on a PC, and basically those folders full of documents are your dungeons or whatever, and then it has all sorts of different mechanics to fight I don't know, evil files or whatever. I don't have the details.
Oh, this makes me
What I
think
found,
of Folder Dungeon from Itch.
yes, exactly, because it seemed exactly that, but more elaborate and more polished. But it's not the same people. Folder Dungeon, in
Right.
fact, is still something that is in development by them, by that
Yeah.
person, as a full-fledged game. Yeah, but I guess the context, Folder Dungeon is a game that on the forums, we had it as a nomination or a winner in one of the Itch Mess events in the past. That's why we are aware of this. And it was a roguelike, a short roguelike, or whatever you want to call it. Maybe not a roguelike, but a short game,
It was a
RPG-fied,
roguelike.
clicking through folders, searching for loot in that weird environment and fighting like evil files and whatever. This Identifile, I have to believe they I feel like the chances of them having seen that itch.io game and just wanting to make their own version of that or whatever, the chances are very high. It seems very much like it's dead but improved. And it looks like a cool game. I'm curious to play it very much so, but it kind of sucks for the original dungeon
Here's
file
one
or
of the
whatever it
things
was
that's
called.
interesting looking at it. Identifile itself looks like it began as an itch game.
It did as well? Oh, shit.
Yeah, and it looks like it
Oh,
came
yeah.
out for Century Games Jam 2024, and Folder Dungeon was like a game jam in 2023. So it's definitely possible that they would have been inspired.
Yeah, that's curious.
I mean, I will say right now, I played Folder Dungeon. It's one of the Itchmas games I did play because I feel like I often
Yeah.
end up failing to play as many as I want. It was pretty good, but by far the biggest thing is that it didn't feel substantive. And
Yeah.
just from what you said and quickly like popping open the trailer, this instantly seems much more expanded. But
Oh, yeah.
it
This
is
really
potentially like, oh man, too bad for like the Folder Dungeon devs. Although it looks different enough that they can coexist, but still. Also, definitely some Kirby inspiration.
Yeah, on the enemy design, I feel. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely one I'm gonna look out for.
May I pop in with one I saw from this?
Sure, yeah, for sure.
Because I didn't really, like I said, I didn't watch the showcase. One I did see, which immediately looked interesting. Art is Rifle, which is interesting
Yes.
name to begin with. That game looks sick.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the first thing it made me think of was Super Mario Sunshine, and then like Portal, and it's like like psychedelic combo too.
Very abstract art style for sure. For a puzzle first-person shooter. Yeah, it's a super cool, unique thing.
I think like the full like RGB. I forget if there's other colors, but like RGB environments messing with it kind of thing. Like very striking. There's not a lot of games that really look like this off the top of my head.
No.
Which is always immediately interesting. This is on my wish list for sure.
Yep. I added that one as well when I saw it. And if you're done with the high octane puzzle shooting, you could play Murph Island, which is this one might be for Diallo. Maybe. This is a chill exploration based game where you play a duck walking around nice environments. Maybe this is like the chill alternative to what was it, Goose Online or what?
Virtual Goose 2.0.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Seemed like
I mean, with Virtual Goose taking up so much time, you gotta relax.
yeah.
I mean, this would continue my streak of mentioning bird games on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
So I just want to add real quick, like, because of Mirth Island, this is definitely a case for, like, this is the kind of thing that could have been in the Wholesome Game Showcase,
Yes.
but it feels more natural just tossing it in this showcase.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Does that make sense?
These other showcases have like plenty of wholesome and cozy games and whatever. It's you
Right.
get your fill either way. Yeah. I mean, to close this up, there's also a game called Montabi, which seems to be a deck building creature collector, which is like two things I'm a sucker for, so I'm down for that. And a game simply called Loading ... which seems to be a narrative game about video game development, which again, I like video games about video games, so they got me there immediately. That's pretty much my highlights from the showcase. It was like this. If I wanted to compare this wasn't like as strong as Latin American and woman-led ones, but still, like dope stuff. And all of these are still winning over the Day of the Devs, which was interesting to me since that was usually my go-to one, but this year that one lost out.
I mean, one good thing about doing this New Game Plus is the fact that you're checking out more showcases, finding new stuff.
It's true, yeah.
The other thing I was just gonna say is, kill the music from this showcase feels kind of like 2D hi-fi rushy, so I suspect that there are some people who might be interested in that. Has a good art style.
Yeah.
Not entirely sure about the gameplay, but
yeah, that one seemed cool too. Yeah. Coming up next, I can't even tell if we're gonna be dwelling on this one much or not. It's this one is the biggest joke of the whole event. Coming up next is the Green Game Showcase, which I was actually really excited for because eco-themed games I'm very much interested in. I like that sort of environment to gamify it or whatever as a setting for things. But this one is probably the most controversial and talked about one in this entire thing. Roy, maybe, yeah.
This is, I mean, part of why I want to bring up, this is actually one of the ones that inspired me to suggest we do this video, honestly.
Yeah.
Because hearing the discourse about it, like, this is obviously the one I was gonna bring up when I mentioned that there was a much more disingenuous showcase in a way that feels more genuinely disingenuous, at least from the people running the showcase. I'm not necessarily going to inherently accuse the people involved in the, like the developers, because they probably were less involved. I only watched bits and pieces of this one, but
I watched it twice.
You watched it? Of course you watched it.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Like, it just seems like such a big fumble from every bit I saw.
Yeah.
And honestly, as much as the showcase itself, like, it got me feeling about, like, the industry of how these showcases are being done and how it feels like this kind of setup can end up kind of screwing the poor devs who are paying good money to go out there and probably often not that big. There's not really any industry safeguard, and that's part of what kind of came to mind when watching this, of all things, because this was a disaster, it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, let's point out the biggest problem here. This is a showcase.
I was gonna say, I haven't seen this one, so I'm not following at all.
Yeah. Let's give the context. This is a showcase that was obviously it was supposed to showcase eco-themed games in an attempt to put games in front of people that advertised environment-friendly stuff. Like, it was supposed to teach people about the environment or whatever. Like, games about cleaning up places and whatnot. It was supposed to have a green, eco-friendly statement and show that games can be made about that, to educate and be fun. And also, I think there was like stuff going on that plenty of these publishers or developers went to plant a tree for every sale they would make or something and whatnot. Like, a celebration of eco-friendliness. The problem is that probably 80% of the games were AI generated stuff or
Just to be perfectly clear, that is a very sarcastic yum.
Yeah, I figured. It was like very, very obviously games that were not produced in an eco-friendly way or with much humanity in them. There's a couple genuinely good effort games in here, which makes this even more painful, honestly, because they get drowned out in the obvious trash where
Yeah.
the art is AI generated, the music is AI generated, gameplay is just your typical gambling or gacha shit that you see in like some freemium games or
Right.
whatever. Lots and lots of obvious trash. And you have these two hosts, which like no blame to them. They had a job to do and they just needed to do it. But obviously they try to hype up all these games and talk about how great they are and how inspiring these are to like be more eco-friendly and whatever, and what great things the developers are doing to plant more trees and whatever. But it all was such an obvious sham. It felt the word disingenuous, as was mentioned before, is the most appropriate word for this entire thing. It's so
Like,
painful to watch this.
why was The Walking Dead here?
Because they had some DLC or whatever. When you bought it, a tree was planted or something. Yeah, the whole eco theme went out the window the longer the showcase went, and eventually you just have like generic tank war game. They sell a green bundle of some DLC stuff where allegedly a tree gets planted when you buy it or whatever, but there was not like no real connection to the theme or whatever. It was a really sloppily thrown together, lazy piece
Yeah.
of shit, this whole thing.
Like, the one I saw was like Evelyn Quest of Time, and like that's like the card game one. And it's like so obviously AI
Yeah.
generated. Outside of also what,
Yeah.
like, there's no information. It doesn't even ignoring like the AI art for a moment. Like, it just looks like it like has generic standard card frame. There's no indication of what the fuck is going on. You know, like, it's not good even if you ignore that.
No.
And then the AI art is like so obvious and freaking awful.
And I mean, even aside from an artistic standpoint, that AI art is also the footprint on the environment by generative
Yeah,
AI is also. I mean, people know
it
about this,
probably burned
especially.
more trees than will ever be planted
Yeah,
from the showcase.
it's so baffling to me. People that are gonna choose to watch this showcase are probably gonna be aware of things like this. Then why
Right.
the fuck would you fill it with these kinds of games? It doesn't make sense to me. It's so
Like,
stupid.
unironically, while I would hate it existing, it would have made more sense to have an AI showcase, especially because I don't like it, but like it is tech that video game companies are interested in. As much as I
Oh
don't like it,
god.
it would have legitimately made more sense than
At
throwing
least it
in
would
the
have been
green
easier to
game
avoid.
showcase. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can just avoid it too. I agree. I kind of feel bad for the poor people who are put out there and had to talk about it because they can't just
Yeah.
say, "Oh, that looks like crap."
No. Yeah.
And like,
It sucks. I wouldn't want to be them.
yeah, I doubt when they signed up they knew what was gonna be in there. So it's not like they're like, "Ooh, awesome."
Yeah. And to put the cherry on top of this, at the very end they spent like 5 minutes to talk about this solar punk game jam where real actual indie devs make real actual games on itch or whatever, which seem much more interesting and worthwhile. The whole showcase should have been that and not this corporate bullshit. That was really sad.
Yeah, I mean, you probably could have done more with just that, for
For
sure.
sure.
And there were other games in there. Something Escape, I don't remember the start of it. Where like it's not AI generated, but it looks like a mobile game ad kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah. A lot of shovelware stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I feel bad for like I think it was Imagine Earth was like this big like city simulator game that's like about climate change and stuff. And that feels like a very genuine product. And then those poor guys have to like share their big thing with
Yeah.
like, in fact, look, yeah, I've brought up the showcase. Imagine Earth, the game we're talking about. The very next trailer is the AI generated card game. And it's
So
like, I
funny.
feel bad for those guys.
There's also another good game that got stuck into this is Half-Form, which is like a survival game where you play like a magical woodland critter, which I have seen before other places, which looks like a genuinely cool game. Sucks that it got stuck with this bullshit. Like, it's so bad.
Oh yeah, it looks nice. Just quickly going to it.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we should move on though. This is making me too sad. I've watched this twice already. I don't really want to spend more time with this. It was baffling.
I'm gonna end it by saying that while I don't know if it'll happen, I do hope that because of the reaction to this one next year,
Yeah.
maybe either Summer Games Fest itself or just the people running it do a bit more greening
Effort. Yeah, I hope
quality
so.
control, effort, whatever you want to call it, something. Because this was a disappointment that I feel hurt multiple devs within it, and feels like it kind of hurts just like in general, like the indie showcases to an extent.
Yeah.
Because if you tune in, you see this stuff, you're not gonna want to tune in again.
Yeah, it brought the wolves to the sheep showcase. If you
Exactly. That's it.
Oh god. All right, and with that, let's move on to the
Yeah.
Frosty Games Fest. And this is a funny thing. I didn't understand why this was called the Frosty Games Fest when we're in summer or whatever. And then I realized this is the showcase for Australian and New Zealand game developers,
Oh,
which over
clever.
there, yeah, they got winter right now, basically. When I understood that, it was awesome. Roy, did you watch this one?
No.
There was some cool things like Winnie's Hole, where you play a parasite in a Winnie the Pooh character, and you mutate this bear to fight other creatures in different ways. Funny idea.
Body horror Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, which I'm gonna have an eye out for. There's a game called Corpo Real, which seems to be a mystery game where you're looking at a picture book. The cool thing about this one, the pictures seem to be like genuine candid pictures that the developer took in the past. And I'm a big sucker for using like real candid photography in your video game in some way. So this is very much up my alley. And we do have Toro or Skyfall, which seems like a cool broad game. That's it. Cool broad game. Flying around the sky. Can never have enough of those. The last one I kind of like to mention, there's a game coming out called Rollick and Roll that's like based on these old electronic table games that I think were mostly popular in Japan, that were mostly like representing some sort of diorama with some cast or characters going around, and you had like a couple buttons on the thing to manipulate the environment in some sort of way. I feel like those were really popular in like the 80s and 90s. And this game is like basically gamifying that into a video game, to a digital thing as a puzzle game, which seems like a really cute, pretty wholesome game, you could say, but one that might use your brain, and I like that. So Frosty games in general, like just a bunch of cool games, not like anything like too. Oh, fuck. Everybody wishlist Unaccessible, which is a wheelchair platforming game where the whole challenge is
Alright, instantly interested.
going around difficult environments on a wheelchair, and that is it. That seems like one of those simple ideas that would make for a fantastic experience in a video game sense, and also just a really clever theme as well. Unaccessible.
Also very topical for Disability Pride Month in July.
There you go. Yeah,
True,
100%
true.
correct. Yeah, I hope that one is gonna be successful. That one seems like it deserves it.
I do want to really quickly just shout out Your Holy and Virtuous Heretic, I believe it was. Yeah. That's like the one trailer of this I have seen. It's only like 45 seconds, but looks like really funky art style, JRPG, like you're playing as like the scion of an elder god kind of shit.
A lot of dithering
It
going
looked like
on.
it had a really striking art style.
True,
me.
yeah.
It's one where I couldn't really tell if there was anything particularly novel about the gameplay, but looked like, very interesting visually.
Yeah, the art style is whack. Some LSD Dream Simulator stuff.
Yeah. The other one, I don't think it got a major trailer in this, but was like in it technically, is Enter the Chronosphere. The publisher of this game was also the publisher that published Star Vaders, which is very good. And this game was also like kind of a roguelike with a certain energy to it, although I don't think it looked as good as Star Vaders. It's like turn-based Enter the Gungeon.
So Aussies and New Zealanders, Aussies and Kiwis doing good work as well, confirmed. Let's move on to
True.
next up. We got the Xbox Showcase, which I didn't watch, but I believe Roy, you did.
I did kind of watch it by I caught the second half of it alone, and then I watched it more fully by watching Maximilian Dude watch the whole thing, but I did not catch the start of it because I actually got the time wrong on when it started. But I have seen like pretty much the entire thing, as seen by the fact that I was the one who immediately added Matt about a certain game.
Yeah.
Because
A certain game I have not mentioned yet, yeah.
Yeah. Persona 4 Revival, first off, weird name it felt like, although it makes sense when I think about it. We kind of all knew this was coming. I didn't expect it to be in the Xbox showcase of all showcases. I thought it would be in the State of Play. There's not much to say about it because, frankly, they didn't show much. But as somebody who has Persona 4 as a game I really, really like, immediately interested basically for that reason. Hope it is pretty good. The showcase was weird how they ended it. Like, Call of Duty is huge. That's not really the issue. But it's not really something I think you traditionally end a show on. Kind of thing. It's more of like a middle thing that gets people excited. Or like maybe a starter. It feels weird as a closer. The trailer for it was really interesting, it felt like, because it feels like it starts off as a completely different game in a way. It did not feel like it was going to be Call of Duty Black Ops. And then it's like Call of Duty Black Ops, and I was kind of like, oh.
That sucks.
You know? I'm like, oh, it's Call of Duty, alright. Maybe they're going to do something different with it. I don't know. Honestly, I thought they should have ended with like Ninja Gaiden 4. Which, looks pretty good.
They should have ended with not firing people. That would be a cool finale.
But shockingly, they did put the firing in the showcase, although that would have been fucking hilarious.
Oh my God.
By the end of the show, we will fire 9,000 employees.
Oh my God.
Oh, man. They already announced, like, Planet of Lana 2, which surprised me, but, like, I guess that game did release at this point, like, 2 years ago, right?
Might be, yeah. It's been a bit.
Yeah. The Outer Worlds 2 getting its own technical direct, which I did not watch, was bizarre to me, especially because they started with it and then they're like, watch more after the direct or showcase. And it's like, that's a way to present this game? Clockwork Revolution, which had a very long trailer. Like, I think that trailer was a good 10 minutes. 5 minutes, it looks like. I guess it just felt like 10 minutes.
Good sign.
But it was actually pretty good. Honestly, I like the fact they didn't just show, like, the pure gunplay. They went into, like, dialogue options, character creation, multiple elements of it. It's like steampunk Victorian first-person shooter RPG kind of thing, but, like, clearly, like, within its own constructed universe, not just, like, necessarily art history. It looks quite good, actually. I thought the character creator was interesting. Basically, it starts off, your character's been accused of, like, thievery, and the police and the person you stole from are making a profile of you to try and catch you. So that's how you do, like, your character creation. And I thought that was, like, pretty cool. Honestly, off the top of my head, one of the better parts of the showcase, basically, because the showcase outside of, like, Grounded 2 interesting me because of Matt. Like, I got way more hype of that than I would have otherwise. I'm like, yo, let's go. Like the Ninja Gaiden game was good.
Ninja Gaiden 4.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden 4. Because I forgot. Yeah, I can't just say Ninja Gaiden game because Rage Bound
Yeah, there's two
exists.
this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
at Fate's End. At Fate's End was really good. That was the other one I was trying to remember this whole time. Although it was kind of weird because PlayStation also announced it, even though it was on the Xbox Showcase. So sure.
Huh.
But that game had a really good art style too. Kind of reminded me of, oh man, not Samurai Jack, but maybe a little bit. It's by the Spiritfarer devs.
I don't think I'm familiar.
And Spiritfarer is a game I've wanted to get into. It was like, honestly, kind of reminded me of Gris as well, but like
Oh.
with more gameplay, I suppose I would put it. Because like, I'm not saying Gris does have gameplay, but Gris is very basic kind of thing.
Uh,
I mean, in terms of gameplay, I would say it is. It has like a card-based decision tree. Like story-wise, Gris has a lot of depth, but in terms of gameplay, it's very straightforward.
yeah. That's fair.
The main character kind of also reminds me of like the new She-Ra series, honestly, in a good way. It looked really interesting. It was definitely it and Clockwork Revolution felt like the highlights of the Xbox Showcase. Like card-based action-adventure platformer game. It looks kind of narrative heavier, which is someone who likes like the Mega Man Zero games interests me. That was one I thought was quite good. I'm not really sure I have. Oh, it was cool that we got a new Plague Tale game, but I don't have anything to say about it. So that's kind of all my thoughts on it, honestly, unless there's just something I'm forgetting.
I think that's enough thoughts on the showcase anyway. And of course, Diallo and I haven't seen this one, so we're out of the picture. Honestly, the same thing for me with the next one. PC Gaming Show, I didn't watch this. I don't even know why I would. If I have enough indie games already seen, this one was not a
Well,
priority
you're a
anymore for me.
PC gamer and not
Yeah.
a console gamer, so it appeals to you.
Yeah, but every indie showcase is a PC showcase, so I don't give a fuck about this one.
But it had Busbound.
I no idea.
This game had some things that were potentially interesting, but I didn't watch the full thing, so I cannot particularly talk about it.
Yeah, I think that's fine. The next one as well. I didn't watch the Death Stranding 2 premiere, which was its own thing. I haven't even played the first one.
Shocking.
I'm not like big on this anyway.
This one for me, this was a trailer that I skipped in the main game showcase, not because of lack of interest, but because I haven't finished the first game yet. Apologies if I said this before, but my experience with Death Stranding 1 so far has been on 2 to 3 occasions, I've played the first chapter of the game, been like, this looks really cool. I can't wait to play the rest of this. This seems like an amazing game. And then I just don't go back to it for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but it's happened like
Yeah.
2 or 3
I've
times
been
that I've just
there.
played the first 2 hours and just have never gone back to it the day afterwards. So still waiting to beat Death Stranding 1. I think it'll be a game that I like. It seems very much like my kind of energy. But yeah, I avoided looking at anything about Death Stranding 2 just out of fear of any potential spoilers for that one. But this is a game that I am hoping to get to eventually.
Yeah, I might play that as well at some point, but I'm not in a rush.
I don't really have a way to play Death Stranding 2 right now. I didn't play the first game. I kind of skipped the showcase. Yeah.
Just trash. Let's move on to the final showcase of the Summer Games Fest, Umbrella, which was the Black Voices in Gaming. I did watch this. I'm assuming I'm the only one. Again, this one was a pretty lengthy one, although the first half of it was very much focused on the I don't think upcoming. I think this game already came out, South of Midnight, which seems like a very
It did, yeah.
polished.
That's been getting a lot of buzz in my circles. I heard it's really, really good.
It looks cool. It definitely has a very, very cool setting with the south of the states folklore stuff.
I've heard mixed things about South of Midnight, but it looks good.
Actually, thank you for reminding me about that because it's on Game Pass and I just canceled my Game Pass subscription and I have 20-ish more days left, and that's a game that I try to knock out before
Yeah, go
it
for it.
expires.
It's one of the ones I was gonna play during mine. I just kind of ran out of time.
Yeah, looks very cool. And the showcase had like a 30-minute interview with one of the writers, or maybe the only writer, I'm not sure. And it was really interesting to hear them just talk about the representation and how to bring the culture into this game from the writing point of view and whatnot. I don't feel like you see too many interviews with the writers in these things. I think it's mostly, I don't know, other people in the production phase. But this was a pretty good interview, pretty good stuff. And then the rest, Reloaded was shown here as well, which I already mentioned before, which was cool. I like that it gets the exposure, I guess, because it's a cool idea. We have a game from a Nigerian developer team called Go North, which seems to be a navigation-focused maze game that I'm going to keep an eye out on. I don't know if I've ever heard a game developed by a Nigerian developer, so that's dope.
It is, for sure.
There's a game called Roller Girl, which seems to be a slice-of-life game playing as a teenager, rolling around the suburbs with your roller skates, doing all sorts of things. I don't know what exactly like the core of the gameplay is gonna be, but the feeling, the setting seems pretty cool. And a game called Rizimon, which seems, as the title probably already alludes to, one of those Pokemon-inspired creature collectors, but it seems very polished with cool art, so another one of those if you're into that. I'm gonna keep an eye out for this. And that's pretty much it. Like this, I think like the highlight in this one was the interview with the South of Midnight writer. Otherwise, just a pretty solid one. Oh, there was also a musical. Out of all the showcases that I've watched, this had the only music sequence where they had an artist do, I think, like a handful of songs live, which was kind of fun. Some nerd rap, as they called it. It was pretty good. But yeah, that's we've made it through the entire Summer Games Fest.
I did want to actually say something, if I may, because I was actually going to talk about a game, because once again I saw like 1 or 2 trailers or whatever.
Okay.
In the like Black Voices one. One I did see was Yasuke, A Lost Descendant, which first off amused me because of all the people getting butthurt about Assassin's Creed Shadows. So hopefully they continue to be butthurt instead of having a power.
I'm sure they will, yeah.
The game, I feel like it looked like it had some technical issues. There were definitely like, and I'm not somebody who cares that much about technical issues, as I'm sure you've noticed, which means maybe not a good thing if I notice it, kind of thing. Because it definitely had like some frame drop, and I don't mean like the hit stop. I mean like frame drops when it was like in the movement phase. But it did look like a pretty cool kind of indie actiony. I don't know if I'd say Ninja Gaiden style game. But you know what I mean. That kind of third person sword action parkour.
Oh, that Ninja Gaiden, right?
Yeah.
Not a precision platformer, hack and slash game, right?
Yeah. And, it looked pretty good. It's the kind of game I'll keep an eye on, even if it didn't excite me necessarily as much as some other one. It had some pretty good art sequences. The style is good. Just the technical performance was maybe a bit rough. I'm glad that was one of the games that showed a lot of gameplay. I'd say like 70% of the trailer is gameplay. I do appreciate when my trailers show me a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I want to say. Looked pretty good. Gonna keep an eye on it.
So that's truly and faithfully all Summer Games Fest things. Now, obviously, there also exist smaller, independent showcases, since we all have access to YouTube and people are passionate about it enough to make their own things, as well as other brands making their own thing aside from the Summer Games Fest. A lot of things happened in recent weeks, I guess. So, yeah, we might talk about a bunch of those outliers. Diallo, have you watched anything other than Summer Games Fest?
I have, yeah. One that I will talk about first is the Donkey Kong Bonanza Nintendo Direct. Which was quite a wild ride. So the way that I came across this one, I remember this was revealed when they talked about the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct that they had shortly before the release of the Nintendo Switch 2, and I remember it generated a lot of buzz then. People seemed to have really positive impressions about it. But the way that I ended up watching the full feature Direct about just Donkey Kong Bonanza was that I was with some friends pre-gaming for Pride, and we were listening to a bunch of just like random music videos on YouTube. And at one point in the recommended queue, up comes the Nintendo Direct for Donkey Kong Bonanza. So I was like, you know what? Let's switch it up a little bit. Let's play this. So we clicked on the video for that one, and it was just very surreal because it opens up with a musical number, and we're like, wait a second, did we get the right video? Like, why is this like the actual Direct or just this sort of like fan tribute video? But it turns out it was the right video. And then about like 90 seconds into the trailer, we were like, it makes no sense because the story is like, okay, Donkey Kong has paired up with The Rock, but The Rock is actually baby Pauline, who's a singer. And I was like, what is going on here?
What?
It was it's very nonsensical. It felt like just we had gone insane, but it did sort of like even out and become more normal after that. And I will say, as someone who wasn't particularly interested in getting the game before the trailer, I am now kind of, it looks like a game that I want to play. There's fully destructible environments that you can like rip out chunks of walls and stuff and just like throw them at enemies, and it looks really fun. It's by the same team that did Super Mario Odyssey, which is a game that exceeded my expectations. So I have high hopes that this game will be good as well. So I will say, I think the trailer has maybe a convert. I'm going to add this one to my wish list. Of course, I still don't have a Switch 2 at this point, but when I finally get one, I think I will want to pick up this game. I also wanted to call out, they debuted, I think there's a trio of villainous Kongs. I think they're all new Kongs this time around. And one of them, her name is Poppy Kong, and she looks just very sassy and diva, and she's my new style icon. If you see me with a long blonde ponytail in the future, it's her influence.
We stand a problematic queen. I also like that one of the villains is just called Void Kong, which is so over the top. I watched this showcase, and I watched other people watch it. I was already interested in Bananza, but I did have my question marks for it. This was a really good showcase of the game, I would say. I think the fact that for one thing, it's like gameplay. They were showing a lot of the game in this. You get a very clear idea of what it's going to be like. I thought it was impressive that they just keep showing like continually more features while not feeling unfocused. Like Diallo said, it starts off on a pretty wild note, even though I saw it coming the moment that there was the poster that was found that had Pauline in it. So consider me to have caught this among my friends. But it's like, yeah, The Rock is Pauline. She's like stuck inside it or transformed. I'm kind of skipping to the end, but I went wild at the fact that like there is a full like rock model system that you can make and chisel and like paint your own rock sculptures, and they do like a famous Michelangelo statue in it. And it's just like, that's just a wild thing to just add onto your Donkey Kong game, because I can't imagine it's like actually, meaningful to the, like, you have to use it at some point. But yeah, you can just create famous statues and Mario's face or Donkey Kong with a squid tentacle on top. Do what you want. And just like such a weird thing. But like this game, yeah, like the destructiments seem really like fully open destructible in a way. Like everybody jokes like Red Faction Gorilla, but like it seems even more open than that, which is surprising. The game looks like it runs pretty good. Only like one or two instances of frame drops or anything. Which, considering that it looks like it's a wide open game where everything is calculating destructive elements, that seems impressive to me. Especially because, the Switch 2 hardware is good, but obviously it's not the most powerful thing on the market. Nobody's gonna kind of doubt it for that.
I'm sure people are gonna find the limits.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you have like a full banana skill tree, and you're getting new moves, and on top of that, you can surf, and now you're gonna have like transformations given to you by like the elder beast of the world that like you chain together as movement options. It's a wild looking game. I had my doubts and worries that it was basically going to be, from the first trailer they showed, maybe too repetitive, maybe not enough variety. And I feel like they showed off so much in this trailer that really assuaged my doubts in that way. It also just looks really good visually. The models are good. There's a very clear art style. It looks like a very interesting mix of the rare style Donkey Kong games and maybe some more of like the arcade modern Japanese style of the Donkey Kong look.
On the subject of the models and the appearance, I know that this new Donkey Kong model has gotten a lot of praise. People say that it's really cute. I personally think he looks terrifying. That's one thing that I don't like about the trailer. The new Donkey Kong, those eyes look deranged to me. I'm sorry. He looks very scary.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think he definitely has an intimidating aura with like the dark circle kind of look around the eyes.
As a gorilla should, to be honest.
Yeah, I do like how the goofy expressions he makes, though. He looks like such a cartoon character, but he also does have like a menacing aura. I would agree. But yeah, this game, honestly, this looks like the kind of game where I could see this be like a Game of the Year contender, even if I'd be shocked if it would be my Game of the Year. But if I had a Switch 2, I'd be very, very ready to buy this as soon as I could, is how I'd put it. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it in my top 5 just because it almost seems like cheating, honestly. I probably would showcase like other stuff in my top 5. But if not, it would probably be 1 or 2.
Damn. I'll stick to the Donkey Kong Game Boy, thank you very much. Was there another showcase that...
I don't know if Diallo wants to say anything, but I did watch another one here, although I have nothing to say about it realistically, so it'll be very quick, which was the Arc System Works showcase. This should not have been a showcase. Probably the most boring showcase. And I don't want to insult them because I do appreciate they showed some lesser games. I like the fact that at the end they're like, we're gonna make sure to do mid-level game development with more low cost that can kind of come out with less devs, kind of the thing people are asking for. But like, they didn't show anything. I don't know how else to put it. There were not many games shown, although it was a very brisk showcase. You know, everybody was hoping they would show Marvel Tokon. They didn't. They were like we all knew they were going to show Guilty Gear, but honestly, they barely showed Guilty Gear. They like highlighted Under Night DLC that we already knew was going to come out, but like they didn't even show the character. They just said it's going to come out. We already knew that. I'm just trying to say this could have been an email, and nothing would have changed.
That's fair.
For me, the other two showcases that I watched, I don't have a ton to say about. I watched this Capcom Spotlight, but we already mentioned the one that stood out for me from this one was I've forgotten the name now. Is it Pragmata?
Yeah,
but we already talked about that previously. Just this sort of Uncanny Valley visuals got my attention for that one. I don't know that I'll be playing it. And then the Bandai Namco Summer Showcase, I watched that one. There is a game from this one that I would like to mention, but that's going to be in my top 5, so I'll save that for later.
All right.
Okay.
Exciting.
Well, I can throw in the ring. I watched the so-called Horror Games Awards, which is a very much a more casual, I would say, independent showcase happening on YouTube with just passionate people throwing things together, which was a pretty sizable thing. Pretty much 2.5 hours of back-to-back game trailers. So if you just want that, you totally get that here. This one does probably because of the mass of it. It obviously has a lot of the current horror indie game tropes or like trends in there. Tons and tons of Resident Evil inspired like fixed camera survival horror games and whatnot. Unfortunately, there wasn't like too much that I thought was really innovative, but they had shit like a game called FIFA 98, which seems to be a FIFA horror game, which I never even, that's not even anything I ever thought about in my brain.
Yeah, I would have never thought of that either.
Yeah, so every now and then there was a unique thing, but ultimately the showcase wasn't like too original. There's 2 underwater horror games that I'm very much looking out for. One called Dark Mass, which might have also shown up in the Summer Games Fest thing, I'm not even sure. And the other one called Well Diver, where you're literally an underwater diver, underwater welder with some light spooks, apparently. I'm always down for that setting. We've previously talked about those rubber hose Steamboat really inspired games. This one had another one of those called Bad Cheese, which seems to be a full-on horror game with that sort of thing. And the art style, at least, seems very much noteworthy. I don't know about the gameplay. And probably the most interesting thing for me that I've seen this one is a game called Tormentor, which aims to become a spiritual successor to Rockstar's Manhunt, which is a kind of game that you really don't see anymore these days in its full grimeness. It was, how would you even, like, it's a it's a murder simulator or whatever. It was very much one of Rockstar's most controversial games at the time, as you just
It got banned in like Grin.
As to like stealthily kill all sorts of human scum as you go through some nasty plot. And Tormentor seems to try to bring that to a modern age, which I am very much curious about. The thing is that it is made by the developers. I don't remember their names, but they also made things like Agony, which was a horror game set in hell that was very much working with shock value, but not very solid gameplay. They also had a game called Succubus recently, which also had only divisive reception. So this concept I'm super, super hyped about, kind of, but given the developer, I don't know what to expect. I hope this one turns out good, but I wouldn't put much confidence to that. So that was that.
As a quick aside, the studio is Mad Mind Studio.
That's the one, yeah. I think this was the first time I watched this independent game showcase. It's kind of like a less spectacular Eek 3, which happens in fall. That one I always recommend. This one was fine, and I appreciate the effort they put in, but it wasn't like that amazing in comparison. And since now we have properly slouched through all these showcases that have happened and that we somehow fit into our schedules, we are now finally closed up with the true bangers that we have found that have been somewhere in these showcases. And I would like to do this ring around the rosy style, where we reveal one of our most anticipated games, one after the other.
Should we start with 5 or 1?
I haven't ranked mine. I'm just gonna say 5
fair,
games that I'm really
fair.
excited for.
I ranked mine. I'm gonna go from most hype from 1 to 5, even though I guess to build suspense I would do the other way. But I want to get into the ones that I'm most excited about before they get mentioned first. So
Yeah, see, that is a strategy I get. Yeah.
yeah.
In that case, Diallo, you can also lead us off so that nobody snipes your number 1.
Yes, I would say so too.
All right. So the game that I'm most excited about, having watched all of these showcases, is a game that was featured in the main showcase for Summer Games Fest called Stranger Than Heaven. This is by Ryuga Gotoku Studios, which is the people who created Yakuza. And I don't have a lot to say about it because there wasn't that much revealed in the trailer. So it was just mostly like stunning visuals and jazzy vibes. From what the trailer shows us, it seems that it's a game that takes place in old-fashioned Japan. So you've got a part of the setting is in 1915, I believe. The other part is in 1943. But it just has these like stunning, and I'm a sucker for the whole like Showa era aesthetic. And you're going through these like beautifully colored streets. Everything, the visuals were just like really stunning, and they blew my mind. And of course, it has the sort of like jazzy atmosphere to it as well. Yakuza 7 was my entryway into the Yakuza series, and it became one of my favorite video games of all time. And I have been wanting to play some of the other games, and they've been coming out with lots of spin-offs recently, but I haven't been able to touch many of those because I haven't played through the first Yakuza games, and I know that some of the spin-offs have spoilers for like the main, for the Kiryu story and stuff. So I've been meaning to go back and play through like the whole Kiryu stuff from like Yakuza 0 up through 6, and then eventually I want to get to the Infinite Wealth and all the other recent Yakuza games. But what I like about this one is that it seems like the whole beautiful Yakuza goodness that I loved from Like a Dragon, but I don't have to worry about the story being connected. I don't have to worry about spoilers from like the other story. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like the vibes looked awesome. The visuals are stunning. The music sounds good from what I've heard so far. Standalone story, I believe. So definitely excited for this one.
So I'm gonna jump in real quick because this game was number 4 on my list. So I definitely want to kind of hop in and talk about it.
Yeah.
I wondered if it might be there. I definitely agree. I really like the visual and energy of this. I feel like especially because I feel like it's rare for a large budget game to be about like pre-war Japan. I feel like most of them are either like feudal Japan or a different era there, or at least post-war Japan. That's kind of what I feel most games kind of focus on. So I do like the kind of pre-war aesthetic, especially because, like Diallo said, because especially of even another trailer, we've seen a 1910s era and a 1940 era, which to me got me thinking, so suggesting we're going to see this guy's life kind of through two eras, which, if so, is a very cool idea. The visuals of this game are very crisp. We don't see a ton of gameplay, but we do see enough, and I mean, to be fair, because it is made by the Yakuza devs and clearly kind of part of that universe, I feel like we kind of already have an idea what it'll most likely have as like a gameplay basis. I feel confident they'll be able to deliver something, even if I know like Yakuza 0 Director's Cut is not very well liked right now. But also that's not for gameplay reasons. That's more because they did stuff the story people don't like. But even just like there was like the one part of it where like you're entering an alley, someone's about to fight you, and a crowd rushes by in a panic, and it kind of keeps you from fighting immediately. Which is like just like good aesthetic. This just seemed like really good as a Yakuza game, and Yakuza games usually are pretty damn quality.
Yeah, so I've heard.
Also, I mentioned from the main show that there was only one game that I saw that was a must buy. This is the must buy for me. And as you go through the list, in my top 5, 2 or 3 of them are going to be must buys for me. The other ones are the ones that look potentially nice, but I'm not 100% sold on. But this one for sure, I want to get it like ASAP.
Yeah,
Inject it into my veins.
I mean, I feel like I definitely feel like the fact that like you have a pretty good idea this will probably be quality just from the devs definitely helps with like the must buy energy too.
That makes sense, yeah. Yeah, I would say Roy
So-
goes next. I think that's the usual
I would actually say Matt should
order.
go next because I kind of already just talked a lot about the same game Diallo did. So break things
Fair
up.
enough. My first mention is not gonna be a surprising one. So we have already like teased at this multiple times. I said Infinitesimals, that bug-sized survivor game coming up, was almost on my list, but replaced by another. This is the one going to come up. And Roy also said, as he watched the Xbox Games Showcase, there was one game in there that when he saw it, he immediately tagged me with it. And that is the upcoming game Grounded 2, the sequel to the great Grounded, which was a game that I've already rambled on, about in real full-on episodes in the past. One of my dream games come true, one of my favorite gaming experiences ever. I did not see a sequel like on the horizon at all. I did not expect this at all. And this one seems to be taking the setting from a backyard to a much bigger one in a public park of some sort. So it seems to have it's gonna have a much bigger map to explore, which is gonna be exciting. And the trailer, this is the hottest gaming news that you're gonna get from me this year. So listen to this. The trailer to Grounded 2 has cockroaches. Finally, the only thing that could have improved Grounded 1 for me has happened. Grounded 2, cockroaches confirmed. I am so excited. This is probably gonna be one of the greatest games ever. Apparently, it's already going into early access at the end of July. And I did play the original game from early access on, but I think with this one, I'm gonna wait for the proper release and then play it again in co-op with my friend. I'm super stoked on this one. This came completely out of nowhere.
Yeah.
This was awesome. That's my number 1 here.
Like I said, I got excited watching that game just because I knew you would be excited for it.
And that blew my mind when you came up with that.
I suppose I should go next because technically I didn't talk about my game, even if I am going to skip number 4 because I already did, kind of thing. I'm gonna say
Sure.
I'm gonna say There were a few games I considered for this, like Axe of Blood, Prison of Husk, Mouse PI, Silent Hill F. I kind of didn't, in part because I ended up talking about them throughout earlier, and it would just kind of, because I was kind of debating this last one. But also, this game had like a good art style. It's Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree, which was in the State of Play showcase. It looks like, I believe they said it was a roguelike, like a co-op, action-y, Hades kind of game. I guess is how I would put it. Which to me was instantly kind of appealing because I have like multiple friends who really enjoyed Hades. So the idea that we could play co-op and kind of have a good time together is instantly a very appealing concept to me for this kind of game. The art style is really nice. There's some very good character designs. I really like the Koi Fish Man. Instant appeal there. Like the small girl who enjoys Bug. That's also a good character trope.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I have to say about it because to me the appeal is very direct. It's a nice art style, co-op-y looking kind of Hades style game I'll be able to play with my friends. The gameplay looked very crisp. The developer of this game is Brownies, who helped with Mother 3 and did like Legend of Mana and Magical Vacation and generally kind of do like visually well done games that kind of usually have like a certain vibe. They also, I believe, helped with the original Fantasy Life as well, but I'd have to actually check that one. But just a direct appeal game that looks really nice. Especially in a sea of some other stuff in that showcase.
Right. And I guess it's back to Diallo.
All right.
Yeah,
my number two most anticipated game was one that I saw in the Bandai Namco showcase, and this is a game that's already been mentioned. It appeared. I think it was in multiple showcases, but anywho, it was mentioned before. Digimon Story Time Stranger. I have never played a Digimon game before. Minus, I did play a little bit of Digimon World Dawn, I believe, on the DS, but only for like a couple hours. So I didn't get very far in that at all. But I've been curious about starting my Digimon game journey for a while now. And watching the trailer for this one, it seems just like really cool. The world looks like really vibrant and colorful and enormous. The Digimon, it feels like very alive. The Digimon seem, really cute and lively in their environments. From the way that it was described in the showcase, it seems it's a good entryway point for people who have never played any of the games of the series before. That being said, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition is currently on sale, and I'm considering picking that up beforehand, so maybe I'll get a little bit of Digimon experience before jumping into this Time Stranger one. But I know it's been retired by, I think Matt retired it previously. What's that?
Well, no. I finished the original, but I retired the secondary story, the DLC, the expansion.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see how far I get in that one.
I want to add, I 100%ed it, and I'm gonna say I definitely recommend it as a Digimon game. It's for one thing, I will say, Cyber Sleuth is also fairly good for newcomers to Digimon in the sense that many Digimon games are hostile accessibility, I would say, actively kind of hostile to accessing them. But Cyber Sleuth not nearly as much. Yeah, like insane. Cyber Sleuth has a really good story, even if I disagree with parts. It's a good entry point. I took a long time with it, but if you want to, you definitely can cut the time quite a lot and not spend too long with it. It has very good character designs. It's almost like the opposite of Pokemon in some ways in terms of how it plays.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say I definitely say Diablo pick it up. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So definitely looking forward to this one. This is another one that's a must buy for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm. It's not on my list, but it's really exciting for me. So
I'm always happy when there's new Digimon stuff. We have had such a big drought or like just shit Digimon games for decades. It's cool that right now we are in a pretty good era of that.
Oh, that actually does remind me. When Digimon Survive came out, I thought that might be my Digimon entry point, but then it ended up being sort of like a lot more visual novelty and then
Yeah.
tactics kind of. So that wasn't exactly what I was looking for in
Yeah.
my Digimon experience. So
Yeah.
hopefully this will be the one that scratches the itch.
It's the
Hopefully,
kind of thing
yes.
that appeals to me specifically, but is not a good entry point.
Yeah. Okay, so to keep the
Anyways,
same order, I guess it's
Matt.
my turn now.
Yeah.
My second game is a 3-letter title. It's called Ill.
Oh,
Oh,
This had the world premiere in the Summer Games Fest main show, but it was also in that Independent Horror Game Awards thing I was talking about.
yeah, and it's been in development
This
a while too.
Yes, so Ill. I have a kind of a history with this one because the main artist for the character creature design, their name is Oleg Vdovenko, and I've been following them around on social media just for the art for probably almost a
Oh,
decade.
shit.
So, and I vividly remember, I think that was during the pandemic times or whatever. So, like half a decade ago, they announced that they were going to work on a game with some other people. And being such a great horror artist, I was immediately interested. They had some Patreon going on, but I didn't pay too much attention. I feel like it was obvious it was going to take a long while to develop. So I kind of wanted to forget about it until it's ready for me to be reminded. And that happened when this official world premiere happened with an actual, like, here's a video game that's gonna come out, not just an idea. And that trailer that came out looks so deliciously gnarly with such wonderfully nasty mutated creatures and weird abstract ideas, all brought up with some apparently very detailed gore physic effects for some body horror and all of that stuff. Like visually, this is gonna be a very effective and nasty horror game. I don't even care much about the actual, like, I don't know, story content or gameplay. I guess it's gonna be an FPS, but it's all I know. And I'm excited to pick that up when it comes out. I'm so glad it apparently survived development hell. It's gonna be dope.
I put in my notes, ill, and I quote, ill looks freaky AF. Like, there's not a chance you'll catch me playing this game, but I remember I was just so shook by the trailer that I had to make note of it. So
that's hardcore nasty ass horror, yeah.
Honestly, I gotta say, I thought the visuals of this game looked really good, but it probably didn't interest me as much as Matt, because I will say, because I'm not, like, have the long history, the gameplay did look really generic, which I thought was a bit unfortunate for all that the visuals are kind of doing. I do kind of wish they showed more there. So I didn't get, like, super personally invested, but I had heard this game had been in development for a while. So I was glad to see that it's going to actually release, kind of thing. I was like,
Yeah.
I've heard about this game. It looks good. Hopefully it kind of turns out good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Hell
All
yeah.
right, Roy, what's on your list next?
The third one on the list, I'm going to say arguably a bit cheating, because this game, needless to say, had definitely been shown off before, which is Mina the Hollower. The trailer wasn't super long, but I've been excited for this game for a while. I've been waiting to see more gameplay. It showed a lot of gameplay. I quite enjoy, like, the Game Boy Color kind of aesthetic that it's going for. The gameplay kind of like Oracle, Legend of Zelda, Castlevania crossover, I guess is how I would put it. Looks really well done. It looks like cute, but also doing more than that kind of thing. It just looks like a real. And Yakuza games like Shovel Knight. I've seen them put out quality stuff before, and this just looks like a really good Game Boy Color style game that knows what it's doing, is doing it very effectively. I'm glad it looks like they're not kind of resting on their laurels and just making another Shovel Knight game as well, I want to add. Because, sure, it's also retro-y, but the gameplay style is clearly very different at the same time, So I'm glad that looks like they're not just staying in their lane, even if, like, it has trinkets like Shovel Knight, sure, but that's also kind of Legend of Zelda-y to begin with.
Yeah.
And I also thought that it's good that they're releasing it on Halloween. That's just a good time to do it.
Oh yeah.
again, this is one I don't necessarily have a ton to say on because of the fact that I've seen it before, and the trailer was very direct. It's only like a less than a minute trailer. But it did get me really excited because it felt like it'd been a while since we heard about this game. I was wondering what was going on.
This one was on my list as well. And like Roy said, it was a pretty short and sweet trailer. I actually hadn't heard about this before said trailer, but the trailer, the visuals from that got me interested in it. I haven't played Shovel Knight, but I do know that it's a cult classic, so I trust that the devs do good work. So looking forward to checking this one out.
Yeah, Matt's the only one whose game hasn't been on someone else's list so far.
Yeah. Like expecting me now. My third game on my list is Donkey Kong Bonanza, which we've already spoken about at length. So I'll just reiterate that at first it wasn't on my list at all going into the showcases, but then having the 16-minute direct convinced me. So now I'm a believer. I'm a banana believer.
Yeah.
Yeah, banana believer. Yeah.
Make me But I'm just gonna say I didn't put DK Bonanza on this list because I felt like it would be cheating, kind of. Like so much had been. I was already excited for this game so much before, and it felt like the fact that a 15-minute long-term direct showcase kind of almost made it unfair to the other games. I will say if I was including this game, it would have been number 1 or maybe number 2, but I decided not to.
Good. We don't need more Nintendo representation. I'm joking. My next one is a little game called The Big Walk. Apparently, from what I've read afterwards, this has already been showcased years before, but I've seen this for the first time in the Day of the Devs this year. And Big Walk seems to be one of those quirky exploration-based open world games where you just walk around with your co-op buddies as funky little dudes in a realistic-looking environment, which is a nice, fun clash of visuals. And I guess you just explore the space and find little puzzles and walk together to go through them. The trailers don't make it look like there's like a predetermined straight up through line or something. It seems very much made to be an open experience. And this seems like a prime thing for me and my main co-op gamer buddy to go through, just messing around in the space and occasionally finding some sort of progress. And the vibe just seems like a very, lighthearted, fun kind of deal. So this one is very high on my wish list for when it comes out.
Yeah, I've seen this one before. The character designs are really good. I like how much of goofy goobers they look like.
Yeah.
Very striking. It's by the Untitled Goose Game devs, so that also gives me some extra confidence, kind of thing.
Yeah.
This didn't make my list, but I've been keeping an eye on it and think it looks fun, kind of thing. So I'm definitely hoping it does good on release.
Yeah, I hope so too.
And the trailer I had seen before was funny, cute kind of thing, because I didn't see the Day of the Dev ones, but I saw its initial release a year ago.
Yeah, this flew by me beforehand. But yeah, that's that. What's on your list now, Roy?
So this one is interesting. It's kind of close to number 1. And this one's also interesting because it relates to a friend of mine. It's Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, which was the finisher for the State of Play. So I've mentioned before that I do fake Smash games with friends. And unsurprisingly, I'm sure this will shock you, we talk about other fighting games and what we would want to see. And a long-standing question, one of the big ones that came up was if Arc System Works did another property, because they did Dragon Ball, what would you want to see? And one of my friends for years has said, because they're a long-time comics fan, from long before even the MCU existed, they're I want to see an Arc System Works Marvel fighter. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to see it, but I'd be so hype if it did happen, kind of thing. And I was watching the State of Play with that person. So, needless to say, it was immediate hype from both of us, when we saw this. Another thing is this game's art style looks really good. It pops off, very colorful. Again, similar to the thing I said about Cosmic Invasion, but even more so because these are, in my opinion, even more unique. I'm very glad, and especially after Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was so marvelous cinematic universe boring style, which I can't blame the devs for. Clearly, Marvel was telling them to do that, but still. But like the character designs, many of them feel so different from normal while still retaining the essence of the character that immediately appeals to me. There's like a 4v4 fighter, which is kind of crazy. What I'm really curious how the hell they're gonna balance that and also make it legible for people. But I'm also interested because Arc Sys, they usually do a good job with this shit. Definitely just kind of appeals to my fighting game sensibilities. A lot of this just looks wild. The trailer itself was very well done, and I really enjoyed, like, similar to Day of the Devs and stuff, they did quite a lengthy discussion with the devs about what they were going for with the game, how it got created, how did this even happen kind of thing. And I really enjoyed the insight from multiple people involved as to what the hell is going on. The designs are just really nice in this game too. The name is kind of weird, but that's like very minor. But very excited for this one and how it's gonna go. And this is probably one I'll want to pick up because I'll probably end up playing it with friends multiple times kind of thing.
Well, let me know when Ant-Man is on the roster. I might be interested then.
If Ant-Man is on the roster, which he might, I will make sure to let you know.
Very good.
Or maybe they'll add the tip, who knows.
I guess it's back to Diallo.
Alrighty, so the next game on my list is a game that's already been mentioned. It was featured in the Summer Games Fest main showcase, and that is Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. This one looks like very bright and colorful, kind of like Sega's spin on a Mario Kart racer type situation. The reason that I wanted to mention this game is because what excites me from the trailer is the crossovers between all the various video game series, and I had to include this on my list because it includes the love of my life, Ichiban Kasuga, my video game boyfriend. So I had to throw that one on my list. That being said, this is not a must buy for me because I'm not a huge racing game person. I think that if I were to pick up a racing game this year, Mario Kart World has my attention at the moment. That one, sorry, that one. I've been eyeing that one, edging me closer and closer to buying a Switch 2.
It's the curse of kart racers. Mario Kart is just such a strong force.
God damn it, man!
But I don't know. It seems like a fun concept, and it seems like cool. So I'll be keeping an eye out for Cross Worlds, like Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, I guess. But we'll see what happens.
The previous Sonic Racing Transformed or whatever, I really liked that. That's one of my favorite kart racers ever. I'm excited.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot of the Sonic racers are at minimum solid. They're like recent. I think Transformed is the one people liked, and then like All Stars, people thought was like a step back, if I recall the order. Sure. But I'm just gonna add, like I said, I lost my shit at the store a little bit because of Hatsune Miku being in it.
Yeah.
It looks good. I think it does suffer from the problem that it would be the second kart racer I get after Mario Kart World, but at the same time, that's not a bad thing because I like racing games, so I'm likely to get multiple. Like I got Sonic Racing like Transformed or All Stars, I forget which one. I got Crash Team Racing. If this game turns out good, there's a decent chance I'm gonna get it, kind of thing. Not like anytime soon because money, but like in the future at some point. So I like this one as a pick.
Me too. Is it back to no? Yeah, it's back to me. I think.
You.
So, okay. My second to last most anticipated game is a thing called Isopods, a Webbed spin-off. Webbed was a spider platformer, a 2D platformer where you play as a spider. I did not play that. That has been on my backlog for an eternity. And I will get to that at some point. But this Isopods-based spin-off thing is something that I'm much more excited for. Similarly to, this was shown in the Australian and New Zealand showcase, the Frosty game showcase. And similarly to Ill, I've had kind of an inkling of this many, many years ago and then didn't keep up with it. I remember, again, probably half a decade ago on some social media page, I followed the developer and they showed really early footage of movement tests of an isopod character, a playable isopod, like a playable roly-poly character in a 3D space. And I thought, like, hell yeah, if this was a real game, I would be all over it. And now, fast forward
Well.
a couple years ahead in the showcase, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this is it. This is that developer. They came far enough to announce and the upcoming release. It looks super cool, like a real fast-paced 3D platformer where you are playing a roly-poly who can jump and swirl around to attack and go into a little ball to roll around. Looks super pretty. I'm always, of course, I'm the bug guy, so I'm always, of course, a sucker for playing as a bug through games. And this is it feels like a game again made for me, kind of. I'm super happy that it finally is so close to its actual end of development. When I completely forgot about this and wasn't even sure if it would ever be a thing, so that's dope.
Yeah, I gotta say, I hadn't seen this trailer before. I looked it up while you were talking. This instantly looks like a game I know you would enjoy. It's such like a Matt game.
Oh yeah, Matt coded through and through.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks like a pretty fun 3D platform. I'll probably add it to my wish list.
You better.
I do find it funny the way the rolling jump stuff works. Kind of reminds me of Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like this just looks like you would. It does. Also, I mean, it's made by Sabug Games. Of course, it's going to be a Matt game. I like it. This is good.
Okay.
So, my number one is a game that we mentioned earlier, and I talked about some, so who knows how much I'll have to talk about. It is Felt That Boxing, which to me was by far the highlight of the entire Summer Games Fest for me. This game looks like, we talked about the visuals already, but they show gameplay. This isn't just the cutscenes look like this, and then it transitions into gameplay. It looks like the whole game looks like this, which to me is insane because it looks very natural. Muppet puppeteering looks very good. The detail is quite strong on the models. There are not many Punch-Out likes in gaming. Funny enough, one called Leftover KO just came out.
Yes, I was about to say.
But and I remember being interested in Leftover KO when I saw it because I'm like, man, even though Punch-Out is pretty well liked, and within gaming fairly well known, there hasn't been a good a new one in 14 years. We never really got any spiritual successors in the indie sphere much. So I've instantly been interested in seeing people kind of go through that. And the story, like Diallo was saying earlier, it just seems like this very heartfelt, earnest, feels like it could be a Muppet thing. They nail the energy so well.
Yeah.
And then, the enemy boxers are appealing. I can instantly see how they're going to be able to have a wide variety of opponents kind of thing. And just, everything about this seems so good. The dialogue was good. I have no idea if the game will turn out as well as I'm hoping, because the gameplay is fairly short when it's shown. And, we don't really see a lot. But the potential is through the roof. And I'm very excited about this one.
Yeah, it's gonna be curious to see where this one goes.
Really hope it turns out good and that they can't, and that's not that you just can't fulfill their potential.
Alrighty, so for my final slot, I was torn between a couple different games. Originally, I was going to do Mouse PI for Hire, but we already kind of talked about that previously. I'm not 100%, despite being a big fan of the aesthetic for this one, I'm not typically very big into first-person shooters, so I don't know if I'll actually get around to buying this one, so it's a maybe for me. And then I was considering swapping this out with Being of the Hollower, but which we also already spoke about previously. So I'll just give an honorable mention for this last another game called Fractured Blooms, which appears to be it's described as a life simulator, and there's some farming elements. It's first-person life simulator with farming elements, but there's also a very supernatural horror subplot that seems to be growing beneath the surface. So the trailer is a little bit trippy to me, and it piqued my interest. This is a maybe for me. I think I need to see some more information before I decide whether or not I'm all in. But it definitely seemed like one of the more unique concepts that was showcased in the showcase.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I would say, in addition to the trailer, I thought it was funny that Jeff Keighley led in this game by saying the devs have said it's Doki Doki Literature Club mixed with Silent Hill, and I'm like, so it's like a horror game mixed with a horror game. What are you trying to say, Jeff? This game wasn't one of my most anticipated, but it interested me. Definitely looks like it could be fun. Curious where it goes. I agree, it does get kind of trippy in a way. I'm not sure if it's technically sound writing, but it's trippy and made me interested. So I'm gonna say it was successful.
I got slight PT vibes from the trailer. I haven't played PT, but I've seen a little bit of it.
Yes, that was exactly what I thought watching it, actually. Was that more so than Doki Doki Literature Club or Silent Hill? It felt like somebody watched PT and decided to take an anime aesthetic, mix it with a realistic aesthetic, and kind of just go.
Yeah, speaking of the anime aesthetic, one thing that was kind of funny about that for me is that you have the backdrops, the world that you're living in looks hyper realistic, but the character models are very anime. So I like that sort of combination.
Agreed.
My thought is, I'm not usually one that's into farming sim games, but I have seen a couple indie games that have tried to pair farming sim with horror, which seems like a very, potentially great thing. But I haven't seen one do it well yet. So that one as well is on my radar, hoping that this one turns out good.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. It seems like the concept for this is that when you're doing your farming, you're kind of stuck in a time loop, and some kind of horror thing is growing with your crops, kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like was the base thing. Anyway,
was this your actual game, or was this an honorable mention? I'm not sure right now.
Well, I'm not sure either, basically, because I had a couple games that were vying for the slot, and they've all been mentioned at this point, pretty much. So I just stuck in another one that had been mentioned. Yeah. I'm bending the rules a little bit.
So this ended up being your real pick out of coincidence. Okay.
I'm just going to really quickly, before Matt, I just want to say one thing. Which is that apparently the publishers of this game, I didn't realize this, published Virgo versus the Zodiac, Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, the princess thing. They, I guess, when To the Moon went to console, they published that, although they didn't publish the original one. So they have some interesting publishing history.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. Okay.
That's all.
That's promising. All right. My final game, Fracture Blooms, is gonna probably, mess with our expectations and whatnot. And I think my final pick is gonna go a bit into a similar direction in that sense. My final pick is called Lily's Vault XD, which was in the woman-led games showcase. And this one is one of those games in the subgenre of exploring someone else's computer, that sort of thing, clicking through a fake operating system and exploring some mysteries. This one is going into a spooky horror territory, and it is set in the early 2000s, so you got all that nice millennial nostalgia or whatever. What I found really cool about this is that the developer used real photography, candid photographs of their life growing up, of their past, and weaved them into this horror story, which is apparently also about, anxieties and some sort of social phobias, etc., that a teenage girl might have growing up, but elevated to a horror extent, which is an interesting theme to walk through. And it seems like the developer used this also kind of, judging from the interview in that showcase, as a personal, walking through some real things that she struggled with growing up, which is, I always love when people use the media of fiction, like a fictional media, to walk through real things that they've gone through or grown through. And I've mentioned previously that I have a huge knack for video games that use real candid photography and give that a new context in this fictional medium. This one seems like it's gonna do that in a very interesting way, so I'm all for this. Lily's Vault XD, I'm down for this.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of this until you brought it up, but from both your description and then watching the trailer once you said that, this does look quite interesting. I like it. I definitely agree that the use of the photography. I agree. I like using that kind of real world stuff and the aesthetic as well.
Yeah, I think we've went through all this.
I'm just gonna give a quick shout out to a game I didn't talk about earlier, kind of thing, and I'm not gonna talk about really much. I'm just going to say, I thought that seeing Code Vein get a sequel in this was pretty cool, because that's one of the Souls-likes I've been meaning to get to and purchased. Like the aesthetic, and there's some other kind of interesting background stuff to that. So I just want to say, like, that was cool to kind of see. And probably if I had put a different game at next, I probably would put either at Fate's End or like Silent Hill Alpha in that spot. I talked about both earlier, so I'm not going to go over it again, but I'm just saying those would have probably been next. Maybe Axe of Blood.
I also want to say that when picking my games, I very much try to find games or like pick games that were either completely new to me or previously there was no clear release information. So there's games in here like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4 or like
Right.
or like Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, which are both games I'm very much excited for, but I already knew about those way before, so I didn't want them to be in the space for that.
That is the reason I kind of kept Bananza out. But me and the Howler, I felt like we kind of just seen a little bit on. So, like, I thought that was kind of more as fair game, as I would say.
Gotcha, yeah. So we have been mentioning plenty of good games, talked about showcases and some of the pitfalls in general. I think it is time for us to take a breather and go to something else. Unless anybody has some final thoughts.
Final thoughts. The Summer Games Fest was like a solid 6 out of 10 from what I saw, but I didn't see all the sub-showcases. State of Play was probably like, I don't know, 7 out of 10 or something. Xbox Showcase, I don't know, 5.
With the woman-led games and the Latin American Game Showcase, those two alone, this was one of the best Summer Games Fests for me. Of course, the Green Game Showcase pulled us down big time, but let's not talk
I guess
about
I should
that
say
again.
the main show Summer Games Fest. I should clarify. Not like the sub-showcase.
And Diallo might tune into Summer Games Fest more often now that he knows it exists. So that's cool.
I might, but I'll probably, to be honest, continue my regular cadence just watching the trailer that interests me. Like, this is a fun, new experience to try, but I don't think I'll be a convert anytime soon.
Yeah, very
besides
fair.
converting to Bananas.
Fucking goddamn it.
Matt can't escape.
I really can't.
We can escape though. Bye-bye.
We will escape. Thank you everybody for listening. Make sure to post your favorite games in the showcase or whatever. You will find a place to put your words and we might read them. Thank you very much for sticking with us and we hope you listen to us again. Goodbye.
Later, nerds.
See ya. First New Game Plus of the season in the books.
Yes.